The desert before us is located in the undying world called Zenhisha, also known as the Shattered Stone Desert. Suddenly, a sound erupted, loud enough to attract the attention of the chameleon. Something must have happened, as a group of people were hurriedly reminding each other to run quickly. Following closely behind them was a pack of desert demon wolves, a common species, level 3, with 80 health, 20 attack power, 3 defense, and the bite skill. The group of 3 women could not resist them. They could only struggle and scream helplessly, "Someone, please save us. We are only at level 3, the priest trembled, as the mages and warriors were focused on running for their lives. "We are so unlucky, we only planned to hunt level 2 desert scorpions. Why did we run into level 3 demon wolves, Captain? What do we do now?" The warrior pointed straight ahead, reassuring everyone, "Try to hold on a little longer, there are some desert pagoda trees ahead. These wolves can't climb trees. If we can climb up, we still have a chance to survive." Then, she gritted her teeth, thinking, "Damn it, these demon wolves are extremely ferocious. Once they have identified their prey, they won't let go." The warrior rushed forward, pondering, "And we were injured in the previous battle, and the last 2 pieces of black iron equipment were just destroyed." She wondered, "Is today really the day I die here?" Suddenly, the mage fell, letting out a cry that made the 2 others stop. They turned, frowning with worry, and called out in unison, "Xiao He." Seeing the demon wolves open their mouths wide and pounce towards Xiao He, no one dared to rush in to save her. They could only stand outside and shout, "Xiao He, be careful." Xiao He's legs were frozen. She turned her head back in fear. The moment the demon wolf opened its mouth, intending to swallow her whole, Xiao He's heart skipped a beat. Just when she thought she was doomed, the demon wolf was suddenly ambushed and killed on the spot. It fell to the ground, right next to Xiao He, with someone's sword still embedded in its flesh. The demon wolf had now stopped breathing, no longer possessing life. A person strode forward, drawing Xiao He's attention. It was a person with a black cloth covering their head, like a person in black. Xiao He blushed, wondering, "He saved me." When she looked at the mysterious person in front of her, the system panel showed the person's level as only 1. Xiao He's eyes widened in shock. She muttered, "Only level 1, a newbie." The mysterious man took off the black hood, revealing it to be Lin Yuan. At this time, the other demon wolves were wary, not daring to approach. Lin Yuan glanced at them and said scornfully, "Level 3 monsters are only this strong." The demon wolves glared. They roared and charged forward. Lin Yuan gripped the sword tightly in his hand. He was filled with murderous intent, swinging his sword forward. The demon wolves also leaped into the air, pouncing with their mouths full of terrifying fangs. But in a few short seconds, they were all defeated by the sharp blade. They could not resist, they could only widen their eyes and scream when their throats were cut. Lin Yuan showed no expression, he just kept swinging his hand, creating sharp sword strikes. His strength shocked the other 3 to the point that their mouths were agape. Finally, Lin Yuan stood upright after defeating all the weak demon wolves. The warrior was sweating profusely, thinking, he used only a beginner's iron sword to kill 4 desert demon wolves in a row. Suddenly, Xiao He pointed forward, crying out in alarm, "Oh no, everyone, look there." It turned out to be a pack of demon wolves, with a force many times larger than before, angrily approaching. They quickly realized, it was a pack of wolves. The priest instinctively took a few steps back, stuttering, Why is this happening? Why are there so many wolves?" The mage quickly blurted out a guess, maybe the desert demon wolves nearby smelled the blood of their kind. In that situation, the warrior immediately reminded, "Run, this is a pack of desert demon wolves strong enough to destroy a newbie village," she emphasized to Lin Yuan. "This is not a joke, you will be torn to pieces." But Lin Yuan was very calm, the corner of his mouth curved up. He asked, "Is that so?" Lin Yuan reached out and opened the system panel. The system displayed a row of characters and asked, "Player Lin Yuan, do you want to summon a skeletal warrior?" Without hesitation, he said, "Confirm." Then, Lin Yuan threw the skeletal warrior summoning cards forward. They quickly landed on the ground, and created a matrix in space. From within it, hands with no flesh, only bones, began to emerge. As the image suggested, they were skeletal warriors, level 3, with 100 health, 85 attack power, 5 defense, and the slash skill. The pack of demon wolves still did not realize the danger, and confidently attacked. They ran forward, roaring as if to show their power. But Lin Yuan was very calm, his eyes were full of killing intent. "Then let us see who gets torn to pieces first." The skeletal warriors were excitedly waiting for the pack of demon wolves to arrive. And then the two sides began to clash when a demon wolf used its sharp teeth to gnaw on the sword of a skeletal warrior, taking advantage of its inattention. Lin Yuan directly swung a blow at the demon wolf's neck. Instantly, drops of fresh syrup were sprayed everywhere. Meanwhile, a skeletal warrior was raising a shield, resisting the attack of another demon wolf. Without saying, everyone probably knows the result, right? After only 15 minutes, most of the demon wolves logged out of the server in pain. Lin Yuan was now gently pulling the sword that was still deep in the flesh of the demon wolf, causing drops of syrup to spray out again. At the same time, the system kept sending notifications. You have successfully eliminated 16 desert demon wolves. Congratulations on receiving 160 experience points. Receiving 16 teeth, skin, and claws from them. Lin Yuan looked at the corpses of the demon wolves on the sand. He coldly reached out to collect the benefits from defeating them. Seeing this, the group on Xiao Hei's side was extremely surprised. The priest could not help but ask, "Captain, am I dreaming?" He took down 12 wolves by himself. Xiao Hei was even bolder. She stepped forward, gently touched Lin Yuan and asked shyly, "Excuse me, are you a mage? That skill just now looks like summoning magic." "I am also a mage, but I have never seen a skill like that." Lin Yuan emotionlessly replied quickly, "Who said I am a mage?" Xiao Hei was stunned, tilting her head. "Then you are." Lin Yuan did not say more, the corner of his mouth slightly lifted. He began to explain, "Anyway, I possess the SSS rank Forbidden Occupation talent, with the talents of Shadow Summoning and Nether Gate, with 5 Strength, 10 Constitution, 25 Agility, 30 Spirit, and 159 out of 237 experience points. In this universe, my name is Lin Yuan, from Lanxing, a reborn person. 3 years ago, scientists discovered a mysterious giant planet named Moxing, suddenly appearing near Lanxing. 3 months later, a company launched a virtual reality hologram game called Undying World with technology far surpassing that of Lanxing. After humans entered the game through the hologram helmets they invented, they were assigned different occupations. By constantly leveling up, they possessed the power to confront monsters in the game. Initially, no one paid attention. After all, it was just a game, until suddenly one day, it was discovered that some players also gained abilities similar to those in the game. And these people were called the Chosen. Also from that time, those who claimed to be devotees of the Starry Sky evil god also came out of the game, and began to slaughter humans in real life. At that time, the city was extremely chaotic, but they leisurely sat back and commanded. My parents died in the early days of the disaster. Humanity gathered all the Chosen to counterattack, but they were still defeated by the devotees of the Starry Sky evil god. I also died in the final battle. But unexpectedly, a few hours ago, I was reborn to the time I first entered the Undying World. And this time, the system also granted me the SSS rank Forbidden Occupation talent. At that time, the system sounded a voice, "Congratulations, you have obtained the only forbidden occupation, Death Spirit Hunter. Your talents are 1. Shadow Summoning, SSS rank 2. Nether Gate, SSS rank." At that time, Lin Yuan's face darkened, and he said to himself, "This time I must level up strongly, and become strong quickly to protect my loved ones and Lanxing." And his first achievement was destroying the pack of demon wolves. Lin Yuan reached out towards the corpses of the demon wolves. A stream of green aura escaped from their bodies. Not just one, but almost every single one, the system asked, "Do you want to use shadow summoning on the corpses of the desert demon wolves?" The demon wolves, which had already died, suddenly widened their eyes full of killing intent when he said yes. The demon wolves slowly stood up. Lin Yuan analyzed. The biggest feature of this occupation is that it has both physical qualities like a strongman, and can also take advantage of shadow summoning. Summoning the bodies of monsters into zombie warriors to fight for oneself. Most of the wolves had stood up, bravely charging forward. Moreover, these zombie monsters, in addition to retaining the level and skills they had when they were alive, also had a new skill, undead body, immune to most debuffs. The reason they could advance forward so smoothly was partly due to Lin Yuan's focus in controlling them. He said, "My other talent is Nether Gate. The characteristic of this talent is that it allows you to store zombies resurrected with shadow summoning, and the number of stored increases with level. Which means, each time the Nether Gate opens, it takes in another batch of zombies, with a variety of powerful creatures such as demon wolves." Lin Yuan declared loudly, "As long as I have enough levels, I will have an unstoppable undead army." The warrior frowned in disbelief, turning corpses into zombie warriors. "Who exactly are you?" Lin Yuan did not answer that question. He looked forward and said, judging by the time, it should be coming soon. As soon as he finished speaking, the system announced, World Boss, Death Colossus Wolf is about to appear in the Shattered Stone Desert. Lin Yuan smiled confidently. Time to hunt the boss. The sky turned a fiery red, and bolts of lightning began to fall, attracting the attention of the players in the area. Suddenly, a chaotic lightning bolt seemed to want to tear apart space. Indeed, a terrifying eye appeared from within the lightning. Players quickly recognized, Death Colossus Wolf has appeared. They began to panic. I remember the homepage said its attack range is 50 meters, run quickly, run as far as possible, save me. Then the players started to run as fast as they could, screaming wildly. Those who could not run fast enough were swept away by a cold wind. Others who were lucky enough to find a safe place could only grit their teeth and pray for survival. Soon after, Death Colossus Wolf appeared. Its eyes were bloodshot, and its mouth was still covered in syrup. In just a few seconds it had turned countless players into its snacks, and it was Death Colossus Wolf, level 6 Lord, with 2,400 health, 360 attack, 48 defense. And skills, Evil Wolf Howl, Beast Heart, and Deadly Claws. A player excitedly wanted to rush up. No, big brother, fortunately, his teammate stopped him in time. Are you crazy? A single player can't possibly kill Death Colossus Wolf. Going up there is just suicide. When Death Colossus Wolf was pacing around looking for prey, a blond man hiding in the rock crevice trembled and asked, This is the world boss, Death Colossus Wolf. Can anyone really defeat such a terrible monster? The friend next to him had sharp eyes and said, Everyone, look there, what is that person planning to do? Following their gaze, Lin Yuan was silently approaching. He was charging up with imposing manner, moving forward without clear purpose. His eyes slowly opened. The blond man stared in surprise. Look at that sword, he is a newbie, right? The friend next to him replied quickly, That is right, Death Colossus Wolf is a Lord-level monster. Level 6, without help, even if all of us teamed up, we would not be able to do anything to it. He thought of each of the high-level monsters and analyzed. In the Undying World, monsters are divided into levels from weak to strong, common, elite, leader, lord, king, overlord, and god. Among them, Lord-level monsters, although they are the lowest level in the world boss group, are a deadly threat to newbies. At this time, Lin Yuan's feet had also stopped. He stood at the foot of Death Colossus Wolf, looking no different from its toenail. The friend, seeing this, kindly shouted, Hey, are you crazy? Come back. Going up there is like looking for death. That is a level 6 world boss. Before he could finish speaking, Death Colossus Wolf opened its mouth wide towards Lin Yuan. He was very calm. Looking at it now, you are not that scary after all. Those words did not sit well with Death Colossus Wolf. It gnashed its teeth in anger. Then it roared, activating the Evil Wolf Howl skill. Lin Yuan was pushed away by the skill, having to put his hand on the ground to gain momentum to stop. As he was staggering to his feet, Death Colossus Wolf pounced, activating the Deadly Claws skill. Lin Yuan frowned. If I remember correctly in my past life. He imagined the image. This level 6 Death Colossus Wolf, thanks to the boss effect, has a health point of 3,400 and an attack of 510. It was surrounded by adventurers in the Shattered Stone Desert at that time, and even forming a large team was the only way to have a chance to fight. Lin Yuan recalled, and I almost died in that battle. When the claws were very close, Lin Yuan told himself, but now I have been reborn. After countless intense combat experiences, I am no longer who I was. And then Death Colossus Wolf's claws sank deep into the rock. It turned out that Lin Yuan had quickly dodged to the side, leaving it no time to turn around. Even the viewers had to exclaim, that is really fast. When Death Colossus Wolf let out a deafening roar, the system began to warn, World Boss has entered a state of rage. Lin Yuan was not afraid at all, but felt excited. The corner of his mouth lifted. Lin Yuan slammed his hand down on the hard ground. A large amount of aura was released from that position, covering a large circle. It turned out that he had summoned the Nether Gate, confidently saying, Go. Death Colossus Wolf was a little surprised to be blocked by the gate. As the gate gradually opened, Lin Yuan leisurely commanded, Go, my undead army. In the next second, a horde of zombie demon wolves bravely charged up. The players who witnessed this scene were shocked. What is that strange gate? Are those monsters zombies? They look like desert demon wolves. What, desert demon wolves? How can that kid turn so many level 3 zombie demon wolves into zombies by himself? Lin Yuan leaned with the wind, charging forward with the zombie demon wolves. He thought to himself, on the way here, I found monsters smoothly and leveled up to level 3. And the storage amount of the nether gate also increased to 30. It is a little late, but it seems worth it. Looking at the zombies of the demon wolf pack tearing apart the flesh and limbs of Death Colossus Wolf, he thought to himself, according to the hatred mechanism of the undying world. The summoner has a higher level of hatred than the summoned beast. When both appear, monsters will prioritize attacking the summoner. Only when the summoned beast actively attacks will the monster change its target. Death Colossus Wolf was not easy to deal with. It turned around and flung the wolves aside. A demon wolf roared to regain its prestige. Its piercing roar caused Death Colossus Wolf to raise its hand and try to slap it. Lin Yuan widened his eyes. This is the time. He leaped into the air, taking advantage of the hatred mechanism, using the moment the boss attacked the summoned beast to attract its attention in order to reduce casualties for the summoning army. Lin Yuan swung his sword a few times. Each strike was sharp. Death Colossus Wolf opened its mouth, and streams of saliva dripped out. It dived headfirst, trying hard to chase Lin Yuan. Meanwhile, the zombies of the demon wolves had clung to its flesh. When the boss was attracted by the summoner, he controlled the summoned beast to attack the monster again to regain the level of hatred. Lin Yuan calculated in his mind, many ants can kill an elephant, even if each zombie demon wolf only deals 15 damage each time, with Death Colossus Wolf's 3400 health point. Looking at it in pain, raising its head and roaring, Lin Yuan became more certain, it won't last long. The players who saw this scene could not help but be surprised. Too awesome, that is right, that is the Lord-level world boss. The players behind were whispering and discussing something. A few minutes later, a shocking explosion rang out, and dust flew everywhere. At this time, Death Colossus Wolf's health point was only 500, and it looked weak. Lin Yuan widened his eyes and coldly stabbed his sword down, causing syrup to spurt out. He pressed the sword deeper, and more syrup sprayed out like a waterfall, hitting the weak point, and eliminating the boss's health point. Then, Death Colossus Wolf let out a heaven-shattering roar. It fell to the ground, sending rocks flying. At the same time, Lin Yuan landed gently. At this time, the boss's health point was only 10, and it fell into a state of dying. He looked at it without emotion. Suddenly, a few people jumped into the air. Taking advantage of Lin Yuan's inattention, they swung their swords down, confidently saying, "Kill it now, the treasure of the world boss will be ours, kill." This kid's zombie army has been destroyed. Lin Yuan gave them a cold look. The player who had been watching worriedly shouted, "Hey, be careful, kid." Lin Yuan turned around, his eyes gleaming with killing intent. With just a light sword strike, he successfully made them fall down and scream miserably. In an instant, Lin Yuan's sword was stained with drops of syrup. He walked to their corpses, and contemptuously said, "Overestimating yourself." The players on this side could not believe their eyes, and discussed in shock, Killed with one hit, what happened just now? I did not expect him to take down 3 level 3 thieves with one move. When Lin Yuan turned back, Death Colossus Wolf was able to stand up even though its legs were still shaking. It panted a few times trying to regain its power. Without saying much, he swung a sharp sword towards Death Colossus Wolf. It jumped up because Lin Yuan hit its weak point. The system announced, "World Boss Death Colossus Wolf's health point is 0, you have successfully defeated it, and received 480 experience points, and 1 soul gem." Lin Yuan walked closer to the corpse of Death Colossus Wolf, wondering, I wonder what reward the first world boss in the game will bring. Before him was a mysterious chest and the soul gem. Lin Yuan picked up the soul gem and learned its effect, a gem containing soul power. Collecting enough can be exchanged for legendary level equipment at the Eternal Council. He looked at the soul gem in his hand for a long time, thinking, players from level 60 onwards have to go to the Eternal Council where the elves live to continue leveling up. It is still early, but the soul gem is an easy way to get legendary equipment. Then he thought of the supreme weapons. In the Undying World, equipment is divided into levels from low to high: white, black iron, bronze, silver, gold, dark gold, epic, legendary, and mythical. Among them, new players usually only have white equipment, and it is very rare to own black iron gear. Lin Yuan remembered 2 hours ago, based on his previous life's experience, he controlled 2 sets of skeletal warriors, luring away the elite level black sand lizard. In addition, he also took the opportunity to pick up the bronze chest it guarded, which contained the black vestment cloak, a bronze level equipment, the cloth armor type. With an effect of +30 defense, +10 spirit, and +20 agility. The system congratulated, "Congratulations, you are the first player to eliminate the world boss, and have received the title of Hunter." And the Hunter title was a type of title, the effect of which was that after equipping it, critical strike damage was increased by 10%, and magic damage was increased by 10%. Lin Yuan read and pondered. In the Undying World, each title has its own effect or status for the player. This Hunter title is a very good buff. He reached out and opened the chest in front of him, and at the same time, the system announced, "You are the first player to defeat the world boss, and have received the reward of a silver chest." He thought in surprise, "Oh, a silver chest." In the next second, a series of silver rewards appeared. The first was the Silver Moon Cleave, a type of weapon, a treasured sword containing moonlight energy, plus damage to the target enemy. There was also a recovery potion, a type of potion that can instantly. He quickly collected these valuable rewards into his inventory. After doing those things, the system began to summarize the experience. Player data has been updated. Lin Yuan looked at his body, which was surging with energy, and exclaimed, "Great, directly from level 3 to almost full level 4, each time you level up, you get 5 free distribution points." The corner of his mouth curved up, satisfied. "Very good, after this level up, I am now the strongest player in the Shattered Stone Desert area." At this time, the Nether Gate talent of Lin Yuan only had 0 out of 40 slots. Looking back at his own information, Lin Yuan happily thought, "Although all of my zombie demon wolves were destroyed in the recent battle, now that I have leveled up, the Nether Gate can now contain up to 40 zombie monsters." Then he raised his hand, and the system hesitantly asked if he wanted to use shadow summoning on the corpse of Death Colossus Wolf. Lin Yuan did not hesitate. Yes. Death Colossus Wolf's eyes lit up with a green color. It began to step onto the rough ground, creating a sound. At this moment, it was now a zombie Colossus Wolf, with level 6, 2400 health, 360 attack, 48 defense, and skills, Evil Wolf Howl dealing x 400% damage to surrounding enemies, while stunning for 5 seconds, Beast Heart increasing the health points of the owner by 1000, Deadly Claws helping the attack of the owner to increase by 150 points. Undead God Body, and the Rage of the Undying increasing 10% attack and 20% critical strike rate for the entire team. Lin Yuan thought to himself, as expected of a world boss, it has both area of effect attack skills and the ability to control the group. Too powerful. After becoming a zombie, in addition to the undead body skill, it also has a new skill, the Rage of the Undying. Watching the zombie Colossus Wolf slowly enter the Nether Gate, he was satisfied. With the help of this zombie Colossus Wolf, I can quickly replenish the full number of zombies in the Nether Gate. And the players, when they saw this scene, could not help but whisper, "Oh, that is scary. He controls the world boss as his zombie monster. And that strange gate. I remember the pack of zombie wolves also came out of there. This guy is more terrifying than the world boss many times over." Hearing that, Lin Yuan suddenly turned around, snorting coldly. The crowd dispersed immediately. No one dared to stay. Lin Yuan was stunned to realize, oh, so those people were still here. He looked at the sword stuck straight into the ground. After being killed, the 3 thieves dropped a black iron level sword. For low-level players, it was indeed a good weapon, but he already had the Silver Moon Cleave. Lin Yuan gently pulled up that sword. He slowly walked towards the rocks where the players were fearfully hiding, and they immediately started to discuss, He is walking over here with a sword. Is he planning to kill us and steal our stuff? Is it still possible to run?" Then Lin Yuan stopped in front of a player and asked, "Just now, were you the one who kept shouting?" That guy's face was pale, sweating profusely, and he stammered, that I." Lin Yuan handed the black iron sword to him, and said, "Take it." That player stammeringly recognized, this is. Lin Yuan had already turned to leave. He raised his hand high, "Thank you, you might be able to use it." While that player was still stunned, the others had surrounded him. Are you kidding me? He came to give away a sword. Looking closely, this sword is black iron level, worth tens of thousands of T. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed, and Lin Yuan was still walking forward. He suddenly shuddered, this feeling. A blue lightning flashed across his body. At that time, his hologram helmet outside was also fidgeting. Lin Yuan slowly took it off. Just as I thought, the battery's dead, I am back. He sighed wearily. Lin Yuan said to himself, I need to quickly earn money to buy a new gaming chair. Looking at the computer screen still displaying Undying World, he thought to himself, Undying World is a hologram virtual reality game, divided into login areas by country. In addition, each login area includes many game countries for players to choose from. For example, the Elpad area that I am in has 4 ancient countries in the West Desert. First is the ancient West Desert Kingdom, followed by the Southern Wei Empire, and the Northern Ming Empire. Finally, there are the Tide Islands. Recalling when he first entered the game, when the system asked him, "Please choose your place of origin," and then it gave the 4 places above. Without hesitation, Reborn, I will still choose the same as in my past life. And then Lin Yuan chose the ancient West Desert Kingdom. The reason for this was, because before I died, I discovered a secret. At that time, the city was sinking into chaos, with endless death and miserable wails, "Save me." While everyone was desperately calling for help, Lin Yuan was lying dying in a stone pit. Suddenly, a piece of clothing fluttered in the wind and stopped in front of him. At that time, the sky was blood red, and from the sky there was a hole, and mysterious people slowly landed. Lin Yuan recalled the gold badge he had seen and pondered, "Gold and sapphire, that is the badge of the ancient West Desert Kingdom Guild." Thinking of this, he became even more certain. The first devotee of the starry sky evil god is a human player. A figure wearing a robe worshipping the evil god appeared in Lin Yuan's mind. He said to himself, "I remember very clearly, the first devotee was the key figure who finally summoned the evil god to descend upon Lanxing." Lin Yuan's eyes darkened, becoming sharp as he calculated, there are still 3 years until the moment the evil god descends. If I can eliminate him during this time, perhaps I can prevent the tragedy from repeating. He thought to himself, the only clue right now is that badge. Lin Yuan rested his chin and thought, only the guild in the West Desert main city is allowed to wear gold and sapphire. The condition to enter the main city is to reach level 10. If I want to investigate this rat, I have to level up quickly. Suddenly an idea appeared in his head, and Lin Yuan's eyes lit up. That is right. He quickly tried to summon a card and succeeded. Lin Yuan thought in surprise, I can actually summon a skeletal warrior card. He clenched his fist, and determination rose in his heart. Lin Yuan recalled, in the Undying World, some players can bring the abilities in the game to use in the real world as soon as they log in. Those people are called the Chosen. The Chosen, also known as the Darlings of Fate, each Chosen possesses an extremely powerful hidden class and extremely high luck. They are the main force to deal with the evil god later. He pondered in his head, in my past life, I only started to gain the abilities of my character in the game in real life when the disaster struck Lanxing. Yet this time I was able to activate it so early. Lin Yuan slightly pursed his lips and calculated, it seems that this Death Spirit Hunter Forbidden class is indeed extraordinary. I just do not know how different it is compared to the hidden class of the Chosen. Suddenly, there was a sound outside the door, and he instinctively looked towards the door. Lin Yuan walked to the door and thought to himself, that is right, now is the time. Lin's parents looked at the dining table in front of them and asked suspiciously, Yuan, you? Lin Yuan put on an apron, carried out the last plate of food, and said, it is all done, let us eat. Mother Lin patted her husband's shoulder to remind him, Lao Lin, do not you realize, it is rare for Yuan to have such a kind heart, hurry up and eat. Father Lin nodded in response. Okay. Lin Yuan looked at his parents chatting happily and whispered, a common characteristic of human beings is that they only realize the true meaning of something after they lose it, and then try to find a way to make up for it. In my past life, I lived vaguely, and did not cherish the ordinary days. At that time, Lin Yuan only focused on playing games, staying in his room all day. Father Lin could not help but scold. This kid is just addicted to games like that, he will be ruined in the future. But Mother Lin defended him, can't you say a little less, Yuan will be sad later. By the time Lin Yuan left his room, his parents had already passed away. Lin Yuan shed tears, recalling that time, he thought to himself, it was not until the disaster took everything away that I deeply realized the impulsiveness of that year. Lin Yuan lowered his face and picked up food for Mother Lin, asking, today is Sunday, is not Xiao Dan coming back for dinner? Mother Lin happily ate the chicken wing that her son had picked up and replied, Dan said she has to review for the mock exam recently, and she is bringing lunch to school. Suddenly she spoke up, oh, that is right, find some time to bring lunch to her. Food brought with you is never as good as food from home anyway. The taste of the chicken wing spread in his mouth, and Mother Lin excitedly praised, I did not expect Yuan to know how to cook, this chicken wing is really delicious. Lao Lin, do not fight with me. Father Lin looked at his wife affectionately and replied, okay, it is all yours. Suddenly, a pair of chopsticks picked up food for his bowl. Father Lin turned around and saw Lin Yuan seriously said, "I will learn to cook more dishes in the future." The couple were stunned as if they could not believe what was in front of them. They looked at him emotionally and replied, "Okay." Lin Yuan quickly entered a state of training. He ran a few laps on the stairs in the park. Then, he did sit-ups in the room. Next, Lin Yuan practiced boxing. He resolutely said to himself, "If I want to better control the power brought out from the game in real life in the future, then I must have a strong enough body to withstand it." With that intensity of training, Lin Yuan stood in place and wiped away the sweat. He sighed and observed the watch on his wrist. Looking at the time above, Lin Yuan calculated, 50 meters, 5.5 seconds, not bad, but there is still a lot of room for improvement. Thinking this, he immediately made a decision in his heart, then it is time to go back. The waiting space in the game appeared endlessly blue. In the sky, clouds were swirling together. Lin Yuan, wearing a cloak, walked inside. The system immediately announced, "You have entered the Shattered Stone Desert area." In the sky, a flock of birds spread their wings and flew quickly. Lin Yuan below was chased by the huge flock of birds. He frowned and glanced ahead. Sure enough, a bird could not wait and rushed towards Lin Yuan as if to swallow the prey whole. This species is a common level 2 screaming cry bird, with the skill peck attack. It opened its mouth full of sharp fangs and flew towards him. Lin Yuan lightly swung a few swords and jumped onto a nearby rock wall. The system immediately announced, eliminated 3 screaming cry birds, received 15 experience points. He muttered in disappointment, only 15 experience points. Lin Yuan frowned slightly, looking at the flock of birds with some thought. He used the bird he had just killed to turn it into an undead, and controlled it to fly away. At this time, a foot with sharp claws stepped over. A pack of ferocious wolves appeared, their eyes bloodshot, staring at the birds. Lin Yuan hid in a corner, and thought to himself, as expected of the desert demon wolf's favorite prey, it has only been a little while, and it has already attracted such a large pack. He opened the cap of the bottle of potion in his hand. Then Lin Yuan stood in front of the pack of wolves and drank the whole bottle of potion in one gulp. He had drunk the monster essence, adding 10 points to each attribute. Lin Yuan rushed up and said quietly, then taking advantage of this, "Let us continue to get started." The pack of wolves also rushed to attack fiercely. Lin Yuan used a sword to eliminate the ones closest to him. The system appeared, "You have successfully eliminated 4 desert demon wolves." Just as he finished one wave, a few more fearless ones rushed to attack. Lin Yuan lightly slashed, successfully eliminating 10 desert demon wolves. Without letting him wait long, others appeared, preparing to seize the opportunity. Lin Yuan was surrounded by the desert demon wolves, with no way to escape. He gripped his sword, still calmly despising them. Lin Yuan's eyes lit up and excitedly said, "It is just in time." He swung his sword and cut in half the wolves that were bigger than himself. Very quickly, the number of desert demon wolves eliminated successfully had increased to 20. The desert demon wolves were cut across their necks by him. Fresh blood sprayed out like a spring. At this time, Lin Yuan was like a grim reaper, taking the lives of everything around him. Finally, the number of desert demon wolves eliminated increased to 30, and Lin Yuan had leveled up to level 5. Witnessing the wolves he had just killed turning into his undead, Lin Yuan thought contentedly, after 2 battles, the undead in the nether gate have been fully replenished. The status window appeared. At this time Lin Yuan was at level 5, the Death Spirit Hunter occupation had a forbidden note. The talents Shadow Summoning and Nether Gate were enough 50. And the other stats had increased significantly. After reading the current status, Lin Yuan considered, adding the Monster Essence, which helps to increase all 4 main stats. Now my combat power is probably enough to solo with elite level monsters of the same level. He looked at the town that was covered by dust in front of him and decided, then next I have to go find that person. At Black Sand Town, located in the middle of the desolate desert, Lin Yuan somberly walked on the road. Arriving in front of a house, he carefully observed again. Lin Yuan opened the door and went inside. Quincy, the mage instructor in Black Sand Town, sat on a chair, holding a bottle of wine, and asked drunkenly, "Who is there?" Lin Yuan walked over to greet him. "Teacher Quincy, I am here to learn skills." He recalled that in the Undying World game, skills were usually dropped from killing monsters or opening skill chests. Usually what dropped would be a book for the player to learn the skill from. However, in addition to these, each profession had its own newbie instructor, responsible for teaching basic skills. Looking at Quincy in front of him, Lin Yuan thought to himself, "This is my newbie instructor from my past life when I played the mage class, Quincy." He is now happily shouting, So there is money to drink wine for another half a month. Thinking of himself as a mage in his past life, Lin Yuan considered, the death spirit hunter is a forbidden profession. Unfortunately, I know very little information related to this profession. But in terms of combat style, it still belongs to the magic system. Before learning the dedicated skills of the death spirit hunter, he could still learn the common skills of mages. Thinking this, Lin Yuan raised the money bag and requested, I want to learn soul fire, healing art, and stealth art. Quincy quickly snatched the money bag, excitedly saying, with money, anything is possible. He carefully checked the silver coins inside. After confirming, Quincy raised his hand and said, Young man, try hard, the glory of the mage will shine on you. Following Quincy's arm passing energy to him, the system immediately announced, Congratulations, player, you have received 3 mage profession skills. First is Soul Fire. Black Iron Level 1, the effect is to deal magical damage equal to 100% of basic magic damage to the target, cooldown 10 seconds. Second is Healing Art, Black Iron Level 1, the effect is to cast healing ability on the target, restoring 10% of the target's health points, cooldown 3 minutes. Finally, Stealth Art Black Iron, Level 1, the effect is to enter stealth mode for 5 seconds, cooldown 3 minutes. Lin Yuan read the last line of the system panel. Soul Fire ensures long-range damage, Healing Art helps restore health to self and teammates, and Stealth Art is used to escape in dangerous situations. He rubbed his chin and calculated, however, these are only the most basic moves. If I want to learn more advanced skills, I have to find a way to earn more resources. Lin Yuan read the description of Stealth Art again and said to himself, let us continue on the road to level up. East of Black Sand Town, Black Sand Mountain, this is a separate mountain with sharp thorns on top. As soon as he arrived at the door, the system reported, Congratulations, player, you have discovered the Kobold Mine Cave. Lin Yuan remembered the monsters from his past life and quietly commented, Kobolds are monsters around level 5, living in nearby caves. They have a keen sense of smell, can detect enemies in the dark, like to ambush and are very cunning. They live in packs, often numbering in the hundreds. With that number and level, this was the most suitable monster for him to use the Zombie Legion to level up at this time. Thinking of this, a flash of light flashed in his eyes. Lin Yuan quickly drank a night vision potion that helped players have a viewing radius of 3 meters in a dark environment, with a validity period of 30 minutes. Purchased from the NPC merchant half an hour ago. Then he summoned the pack of desert demon wolves from the Nether Gate, thinking to himself, in addition to leveling up, I can also take advantage of these kobolds to improve the proficiency of Soul Fire and Stealth Art, and conveniently open a few treasure chests. Lin Yuan held a common torch that had a viewing radius of 5 meters, and he ordered, Go ahead and clear the way. The wolves immediately obeyed the order, and went ahead to explore the way. 15 minutes later, Lin Yuan was walking while holding a torch, and he had now gone deep inside. The light emitted from the torch flickered slightly, indicating that there was wind here. Lin Yuan quickly became alert, there is a sound. He threw the torch forward. At the end of that road, the shadows of monsters loomed. Sure enough, the torch caught the attention of the kobolds, their eyes widened, bloodshot. Common level kobold miners, level 5 with the skills digging and mad smashing rushed out wildly. Witnessing faces identical to those in his memory, Lin Yuan immediately became vigilant. They have appeared, it is the kobold miners. The torch fell to the ground, and fortunately there was nothing to act as a conductor, so the fire did not spread. Lin Yuan rushed forward with his sword while ordering the undead, kill them all, leave none alive. The kobold miners swung their sharp claws and rushed to attack. Lin Yuan swung his sword, and in the blink of an eye eliminated 2 kobold miners. The monsters used their picks and activated the smashing skill to attack. He did not care and swung his sword to eliminate the ones closest to him, feeling a little disappointed in his heart. These guys' stealth is not very strong, the important thing is to dodge their shovels. A few kobold miners teamed up to trap Lin Yuan. He muttered, stealth, and then activated the skill. Those monsters thought they were sure of victory, but their picks swung into the ground. They were puzzled when they saw him disappear. Suddenly, Lin Yuan appeared from behind and cursed, You idiots, I am over here. The number of kobold miners eliminated had increased to 20. After dealing with those monsters, Lin Yuan jumped back, standing on a rock that was not stained with blood. The proficiency of Stealth Art had increased by 5, which was in line with Lin Yuan's guess. He thought with satisfaction, the proficiency of Stealth Art has indeed increased. Suddenly his eyes darkened and he said to himself, But these common level kobolds are too weak. Leveling up by killing them is really slow. Lin Yuan quickly subdued the kobold miners to become his undead. At present, they had become undead kobold miner zombies, common level 5, with the skills digging, smashing, and undead body, smashing dealing a maximum of 5% of health damage to the target. After being hit, Lin Yuan waved his hand and ordered, "You guys will replace the zombie demon wolves, go." He continued to go deeper inside, muttering, "I must quickly find the boss in this area." Lin Yuan's pace was slow, showing that he was highly alert. Suddenly he came to a fork in the road. If he wanted to go, he had to choose a path. Lin Yuan pondered, a fork in the road. Suddenly Lin Yuan noticed something next to him. In that corner, something was wriggling on the rock wall. He smiled slyly, activating fire art, found it. Lin Yuan launched fire towards them, and the system immediately announced, eliminated 2 mud slimes, received 4 experience points. At this time, a pair of bloodshot eyes flashed in the dark corner. A roar reverberated throughout the cave, attracting Lin Yuan's attention. Elite level Kobold Overseer, level 10, with the skills digging and whip swing rushed out wildly as if seeing prey for the first time. From ancient times to the present, the strong devouring the weak has been the immutable law of survival in nature. As a link in the food chain, the hunter also sometimes becomes prey. Danger always lurks in dark corners. At present, the Kobold Overseer swung its whip to attack him. The misty smoke completely blocked the view. However, hunters will sometimes quietly appear in the guise of prey. Just like this moment, Lin Yuan's eyes stared resolutely at the monster. The Kobold Overseer's exclusive whip was tightly grasped in his hand. Lin Yuan's face did not reveal any expression. He calmly said, "Guide you." After finishing speaking, he yanked the whip in his hand, dragging the huge monster along with it. The Kobold Overseer was thrown far away without being able to resist. As if provoked, it roared angrily and stood up quickly. However, before it could attack, Lin Yuan had moved swiftly to where it was standing. He lightly swung his sword and had eliminated the Kobold Overseer. The slash created countless wounds on the Kobold Overseer's body, and fresh blood flowed continuously. In the blink of an eye, it had fallen to the ground without being able to do anything. Lin Yuan's eyes glanced indifferently behind him. Countless Kobold Overseers poured out from the inside. They were all holding weapons in their hands, and each powerful step shook the ground. The system hurriedly warned, "The Overseer has activated the whip swing skill. The miners have entered a state of bloodlust. In this state the attack and movement speed are increased." Lasting for 60 seconds. Lin Yuan silently assessed 40, no, it must be 50. The number is indeed not small, but our team is no less impressive. He ordered, "Come out and breathe a little." The undead Lin Yuan had collected stepped out from the gate. He calmly summoned them, his face serious as he prepared to fight. Lin Yuan smiled slyly and declared, "The hunt officially begins." With a wave of his hand, the pack of desert demon wolves crazily rushed up. They did not know what fear was and attacked ferociously. The Kobold Overseers were not easy to deal with either. They did not flinch and charged forward to fight. The two sides fought fiercely, and the fallen bodies piled up on the ground. A wolf cleared its throat and roared, and the power from the sound caused countless opponents to fall. The Kobold Overseers had been hit, and fell into a state of dizziness, and were near death. Lin Yuan knew this was a good opportunity, and he shouted loudly, "Now's the time." The wolves immediately followed his command and attacked fiercely. The number of Kobold Overseers and Kobold Miners eliminated increased continuously, and very quickly the system congratulated them on leveling up to level 6. Lin Yuan absorbed their souls to turn them into undead. Very quickly Lin Yuan had a legion of elite-level zombie Kobold Overseers, level 6, with the skills digging, whip swing, and undead body. A few Kobold Overseers saw that the situation was not good, and stealthily burrowed deeper into the cave. But unfortunately they were discovered by Lin Yuan, and he shouted loudly, "Want to run? Ask my sword first." With those words he took them down with just a few strikes. Suddenly, something descended and attacked Lin Yuan. He quickly somersaulted backward, creating distance, as the system rapidly reported, "Boss activated skill, fatal blow." It turned out that the thing attacking him was the monster Lin Yuan had been waiting for, a Dongmu level dog-headed leader, level 7. He immediately went into a battle stance, his tone provocative, "I have been waiting a long time for you." The dog-head swung his hammer fiercely, but Lin Yuan nimbly dodged it, and a thunderous crash echoed. Because his hammer swing was too powerful, the iron hammer was now stuck straight into the wall. The dog-head was stunned, not expecting that he would miss Lin Yuan. Noticing that he was distracted, Lin Yuan quickly charged forward and shouted, "Now's the time." Immediately, he swung his axe down hard on the dog head, a sharp light flashed, and the sound of metal clashing rang out. But surprisingly, even though Lin Yuan's strike was so powerful, it did not create a single scratch on his body. Seeing that the situation was not good, he immediately jumped back to defend, and exclaimed, as expected of a boss-level monster, "Its defense is really high, I can't even pierce it." The dog head, in pain, roared angrily and yanked the hammer out of the wall. Realizing that he was getting more and more frantic, he was shocked, staring intently at his every move. A second later, the dog head furiously charged forward, raising the hammer high in his hand and smashing it straight down at him. The powerful strike descended, causing the space to tremble violently, and the ground seemed to crack in two. Lin Yuan quickly escaped, immediately retreating to avoid the flying debris. His expression became serious, and he assessed in his heart, as expected, the attack methods of boss-level monsters are much more diverse than elite-level monsters. Overall, their strength must be at least 2 to 3 times stronger than elites. Then Lin Yuan summoned flames in his hand, first maintaining distance to ensure continuous damage. He shouted loudly, "Go!" The undead immediately appeared, continuously activating a series of moves, whipping, smashing, and the dire wolves roared and rushed towards the dog head. The boss then activated the skill Heavy Smash, and the system announced, "Heavy Smash activated, dealing double fatal damage." Seeing that the opportunity had come, Lin Yuan immediately ordered the undead go. A second later, the undead corpses and dire wolves pounced on the dog head's body and gnawed at him. He did not expect to be attacked like this, so he was a little surprised. The boss continued to activate the area of effect skill Wrath of the Undying, and flashes of lightning enveloped its body. That attack immediately covered the dog head's body, and the continuous damage from both sides made it impossible for him to resist. The damage increased more and more, and the dog head could only continuously struggle and emit miserable cries. After a while, when the lightning gradually disappeared, his body stiffened because he had lost a lot of strength. But it did not stop there. Lin Yuan on this side continued to activate the skill Soulfire magic. Immediately afterward, he threw countless flames towards the dog head. He was restrained by the undead corpses and dire wolves, so he could not dodge and could only wait for his judgment. A shocking explosion erupted, and the dog head's body was enveloped in blue flames. Blood was continuously lost, causing him pain. He looked at him, and thought to himself, "If I remember correctly, dog head boss's magic has very low resistance." This time, the dog head completely lost his mind. His eyes flashed with a brutal red light, and then he roared madly. He did not think about anything else and rushed towards Lin Yuan with lightning speed. He did not look rushed at all and just stood there waiting. Suddenly, Lin Yuan revealed a smug smile. He immediately activated the invisibility skill and disappeared. A second later, Lin Yuan appeared silently behind the dog head. He chuckled and said, "You offered yourself at the door, then I won't be polite." Staring at the back of his head, he immediately found the spot he had planned for, which was where the skin was not protected by armor. Immediately after that, Lin Yuan did not wait any longer. He immediately stabbed the sword hard into the back of the dog head's neck, and fresh blood immediately spurted out. The sword was deeply embedded in the dog head's flesh. He was hit with a fatal blow from behind without being able to react, and frantically screamed in pain. A second later, he swung his hammer hard to smash behind him, but Lin Yuan quickly jumped up. He calmly snapped his fingers and shouted, "Come!" From the air, a hairy foot suddenly appeared. Lin Yuan's empty hand also grabbed something. The death dire wolf appeared in time, catching him from above. After landing, it roared to intimidate the dog head, and its subordinates immediately pounced on and rushed towards him. Looking at the dog head continuously swinging his hammer to attack, he immediately realized, the armor is broken. He was getting weaker and weaker. Lin Yuan continued to activate his skills, countless fire spells enveloped him, and he muttered, "The next strike. Die." Just as he finished speaking, he poured all his strength and struck straight towards the dog head, and a violent force suddenly struck. This time, he did not have time to react and could only take the full force of his powerful strike, and had to continuously scream in pain. Hearing the roar of the dog head boss, his subordinates also immediately furiously charged forward. Thousands of monsters like ants poured towards him. But this time he did not waver at all, and just coldly uttered a sentence, "Futile struggle." Immediately afterward, an announcement from the system, "You have successfully killed the dog head miner," continuously rang out. His dire wolves made extremely great contributions, charging straight at the dog head monsters without any hesitation. Suddenly, the dog head behind Lin Yuan gradually retreated backward. He immediately realized his intention, slowly pulled out his sword, and Lin Yuan's voice was as cold as a shura from hell. You want to run? Clenching the sword in his hand, Lin Yuan shouted, leave your life behind. Immediately afterward, he jumped over the dog head, and the cold blade only left a sharp streak of light. A second later, the dog head's neck was severed. He did not even have time to realize what had happened. The huge body fell with a crash, creating a cloud of dust that flew up, and at the same time, an announcement rang out, you have successfully eliminated the dog head leader. Receiving 50 experience points. Ending the battle, he opened the status panel. A large line of text caught Lin Yuan's eye, congratulations, you have leveled up to level 7. Looking at his stats, he thought to himself, level 7, very good. One more step and I will be level 10, enough to go to the main city of Shima. He opened the information panel of the 2 skills and fell into thought. As for the invisibility and soulfire magic skills, their proficiency has also reached the highest level and leveled up to level 2, doubling the effect. Suddenly, Lin Yuan's eyes caught something that shocked him. From the dog head's corpse, an item appeared. He exclaimed, a bronze treasure chest. Lin Yuan immediately approached, and his hands slowly touched it. When the chest lid opened, a dazzling light shone from inside. Immediately afterward, system announcements continuously rang out, received dog leather bag, undying flame, skull mask, shadow gloves. Lin Yuan chose to open the dog leather bag item and received 20 gold. He said, if I remember correctly, it won't be long before major banks around the world will allow the exchange of currency between the real world and the game. Holding the bag of gold in his hand, he happily continued, 20 gold converted into real world currency is also 200,000, not bad. 2 items appeared in front of him, the undying flame, which has the effect of illuminating a 3m radius in the dark for players, and the skull mask. But what attracted Lin Yuan's attention was the shadow gloves. He picked them up and exclaimed, oh. He immediately put them on, and sighed, really lucky, a bronze chest actually opened a silver-grade weapon. Do these gloves have the same strength as the dog head leader? I really want to try them. At this time, near the dog head cave, the corpses of wolf monsters lay scattered on the ground. The president of the Blood Crow Guild, Huang Feilong, held an axe and looked at them. He excitedly laughed. It seems that training has been really effective recently, killing 30 desert fiend wolves in less than 1 minute. Vice President Huang Feihu replied, as long as we brothers are of one mind, we can do anything. The subordinates praised non-stop, as expected of the president and vice president. Killing the wolves is as quick as lightning, their strength is really outstanding. That is right, if we meet those guys from the Thundercloud Guild again, we will definitely crush them. Absolutely. Feihu angrily snorted coldly, if it was not for that Lin Yuan suddenly jumping out, we would have won the first boss clear. Now, which guild would dare to act up in front of us? Just at this moment, the world system rang out with an announcement, world boss Death Direwolf has been killed by player Lin Yuan. This made everyone here extremely shocked, and they exclaimed in unison, what? The image of Lin Yuan standing majestically on the corpse of the giant dog head was projected, creating a new wave in the player community. Feihu unwillingly gritted his teeth. I do not know what luck that guy had, but he is so successful. If I meet him, I will definitely teach him a lesson he will never forget. But Feilong immediately reminded him, Feihu, how many times have I told you, do not act impulsively? He rationally said, that Lin Yuan is not an easy target. Instead of making enemies, it is better to bring him to work for us. Then he left, and at the same time ordered his subordinates, I remember there is a dog head dungeon nearby. I will go confirm the location. You guys stay here to rest and recover your strength. One person replied, understood. Feihu's face darkened, and a fire of anger rose in his heart. He cursed inwardly, you have scolded me 3 times for a stray dog, it is really infuriating. Then he went crazy and shouted loudly, Lin Yuan, you just wait. Sooner or later I will pull out all your dog teeth in front of my brother, and then chop off your dog head to show my brother who is the real player. Suddenly, one person pointed to one side and said to Feihu, Vice President, do not be angry because of that unworthy guy anymore. Look, what is that? He looked over doubtfully and was stunned, and immediately exclaimed, what? He saw the figure of a girl from afar. With soft platinum blonde hair, she appeared like a fairy, attracting the eyes of countless people. Seeing this innocent girl, they immediately showed sinister smiles, as if brewing some conspiracy. Suddenly, a figure wearing a black cloak appeared. Lin Yuan pondered. I have added a leader-level zombie with strong combat power, and the corpse beasts in the Netherworld Gate have also increased to 70. If I keep up this pace. Suddenly, a panic scream attracted his attention. You guys do not come near. The girl from just now was now covered in wounds, with a frightened expression continuously retreating backward. She shouted, don't come over here, if you take another step, I won't be polite. The people from the Blood Crow Guild became even more excited seeing the girl's panic. One person laughed sinisterly, today you are really lucky, I did not expect to find such a beautiful girl. Fei Hu laughed with interest, and advised her, don't be nervous, we are just playing around with you for a bit. Instead of suffering, why not just enjoy it? The person next to him also added, if you obediently please our vice president, you might get a lot of benefits. But she did not bow her head at all, and could only resist helplessly, continuously waving the staff in her hand and shouting, another step and I won't be polite. Suddenly, a second later, Fei Hu had appeared in front of her, kicked the staff out of her hand, and provoked, let us see who is not polite. He grabbed her head, continuously mocking, a useless mage thinks she can hurt us. He pressed the girl to the ground, not showing any pity for her, and with a triumphant smile, he challenged her, stop being so naive, are you unwilling, then try to resist more. At this time, Fei Hu's expression was no longer like that of a normal person. His long tongue stuck out, and he shouted madly, come on, keep going, the more you resist, the more excited I will get. Then he tightened his grip on the hair in her hand, causing her to scream in pain. He looked like an uncontrollable beast, taking the opportunity to vent his anger at being treated by Fei Long earlier. Suddenly, a solid fist landed on his face, and several teeth immediately fell out. Lin Yuan appeared in time to save the girl from him. Fei Hu suddenly took the full force of the punch without being able to react, and flew far away and roared in pain. The subordinates turned pale when they saw this, and shouted in panic, Vice President. Lin Yuan's punch was so powerful that it created a long mark on the ground. Fei Hu was sent flying far away and crashed into the wall behind him, creating an explosion that sent dust flying everywhere. Fei Hu had lost consciousness and passed out directly. His eyes were as cold as looking at a dead person, and he said indifferently, the effect is better than I imagined, and it is quite easy to use. At this time, one of the people woke up. He immediately ran away, thinking in his head, this is bad, I have to find a way to report to the president. The remaining two people looked at him warily. Although they were afraid, they still threatened loudly, you, who are you? You are dead for daring to touch our Blood Crow Guild. But facing the harmless words from the two people, he did not seem to care at all and just looked at them indifferently. His eyes caught the pin on his chest, and he thought to himself, Blood Crow Guild, in the early stages of the game, the #1 guild in the Black Sand Novice Village. Its members are mainly red-named players, there is no evil they won't do. They often have a strange appearance, their whole bodies exude a gloomy murderous aura, and wherever they go, a red warning will be issued, dangerous there. He continued to think, red-named players are those dangerous players who are assessed by the system to have a sin value of 10 or more, due to intentionally attacking, stealing or robbing other players. However, the evil gods have not yet invaded. Being killed in the game does not cause death in real life, but dropping equipment and losing levels is a huge loss for players. In his previous life, these sewer rats caused him a lot of trouble. Then Lin Yuan coldly asked, you guys, are you people from the Blood Crow Guild? His question made them a little hesitant, and they looked at each other suspiciously. He proudly pointed at himself and boasted, that is right, it is the famous #1 guild in Black Sand Town. You have offended our vice president, now you know to be afraid, right? He even started to warm up his hands, and warned, it is too late, but if you do not want to die miserably. They grinned excitedly, still not knowing who they were facing. He laughed loudly and said, cut off both your hands, and then kneel down like a dog and bark Grandpa a few times and I will spare you. A second later, he passed by the two people, and a cold light flashed from the blade in an instant. In less than a second, both of their arms were severed from their bodies, and fresh blood splashed on the ground. They knelt on the ground in pain, screaming madly. He stood behind and just coldly said, I have helped you chop off your arms. As for the dog barking, save it for howling in the underworld. The girl next to him was stunned when she witnessed this scene, and praised in her heart, so strong. At this time Fei Hu, who had been blown away from afar, also gradually regained consciousness. His hand trembled, and the system announced, you have used life potion, restoring 20% HP and MP. Fei Hu painfully rubbed the side of his face that had been punched, and gritted his teeth in anger, this bastard. His whole body exuded a terrifying aura. His eyes flashed with a frenzied red light, and he roared, "You are dead." Suddenly, two voices sounded from behind Lin Yuan. "President, he is right ahead. I want to see who is brave enough to be tired of living." Hearing the strange voice, he immediately turned around to look. The girl next to him knew that their companions had returned and was very worried. The person who had run away had led President Huang Filong back. He pointed at his face and reported, "It is this kid, he almost killed the vice president." He asked angrily, "Who?" But after Filong clearly saw who it was, his movements immediately froze, and he thought to himself, "Wait a minute." He stared at his eyes, gradually remembering the appearance of a person, the cold and distant eyes that were terrifyingly oppressive in the legend. Like moonlight condensing, flashing a sharp cold light that could cut through everything. Looking at his powerful aura that no one should approach, Filong fell into thought, and the momentum on his body, just standing there, makes people suffocate to the point of not being able to breathe. At this time, the subordinate still did not realize that there was anything unusual about him. He arrogantly relied on his power. "President, quickly teach this kid a lesson. You blind dog, you dare to provoke us, you are tired of living, are not you, prepared to die?" Filong fell into a dilemma. He was sweating profusely and thought to himself, "Damn it, this momentum, plus the sword that looks like something dropped from a high-level boss. This guy is probably Lin Yuan." Seeing that the subordinate was hiding behind him and acting recklessly, continuously provoking, "Die you are dead," made him even more furious. These idiots do not provoke anyone and go provoke him, really ruining big things. At this time, Lin Yuan coldly asked him, "You are the leader of the Blood Crow Guild." But for the sake of face, Filong still decided to tighten his grip on the axe, telling himself, "I can't lose face." He worriedly thought, "It seems, this battle is unavoidable." Then Filong did not hesitate any longer, and immediately rushed forward. The girl next to him was afraid but still stood out to protect Lin Yuan. "Be careful behind you." Suddenly, at this moment, Fei Hu also rushed up madly. Anger corroded his reason, causing him to forget his terrifying strength just now. Fei Hu shouted, "Die!" Tightening his grip on the sword, his eyes burned with unquenchable anger. "Die!" Seeing that there were teammates to help, Filong was much more confident. He said arrogantly, "That kid, going against the Blood Crow Guild is the stupidest decision of your life." In his heart, he thought, "This is a good opportunity." Then the two of them simultaneously rushed towards Lin Yuan. But suddenly, an astonishing thing happened that Filong had not expected, and he exclaimed in dismay, "What?" Behind him, the undead of the dog head appeared, and its huge body stunned both of them. The dog head showed an excited smile, and immediately swung the iron hammer. The first strike directly hit Fei Hu hard. This terrifying speed made it impossible for him to even see it. He was immediately knocked away for the second time without being able to attack once. On this side, Filong had not finished being stunned when the dog head appeared and had to face Lin Yuan. Touching the sharp blade, he coldly threatened, "The next one, it is your turn." His voice seemed to come from hell, making Feilong's face turn pale with fright, to the point that he could not speak. A second later, Lin Yuan had powerfully slashed his sword at him, and Filong shared the same fate as Fei Hu. They both went to see their ancestors before they could even do anything. Lin Yuan disdainfully glanced at their corpses, and mocked, "This guild called Number One does not even have the ability to make me serious." Suddenly, a red warning appeared in front of his eyes, "Detected that you have killed another player, sin value increased by 2 points." Looking at it, he thought to himself, 2 points. But of course, Lin Yuan also had a way to deal with this. As long as it does not increase within 1 week, it will automatically disappear. After both of the leaders were killed by him in an instant, the 3 subordinates quickly picked up their sandals and ran away very fast. She realized this and called out, "This is bad, they ran away, do we need to chase them?" But those ants did not bother him, just a few small fish, no need. At this time, a light flashed on player Fei Hu's corpse, and he walked towards it. The item Battle Axe of Violent Rage, Silver Grade, appeared. Effect: when hitting a target, it will create a strong explosion, causing area damage to the target and surrounding enemies. Next was the Dragon Fang Cross Ring, Silver Grade. Effect: when hitting a target, it will emit fire. The fire will stick to the target and cause continuous burning damage. Finally, the Spike Dagger, Bronze Grade, increases agility and attack. Looking at the items in front of him, he stroked his chin and assessed, "Not bad attributes, even if I do not use them, I can sell them for a good price." The girl next to him suddenly stepped forward. With a shy smile, she said awkwardly, Great God, thank you for saving me today. I do not even know your name yet. She suddenly approached, making Lin Yuan slightly startled. Then he turned around and muttered, "Name, huh?" There will be a day when she will see his name at the top of the global top 10 combat power rankings. Hearing these words, her face froze, and she stammered in disbelief, "Top 10. Immediately after regaining her senses, she immediately chased after Lin Yuan, who had gone far away, and shouted, "Who cares about that trash ranking? Great God, let me follow you." After a while, Lin Yuan was in the cruel desert, a dry and barren place with dust flying everywhere. A monster rushed towards Lin Yuan from behind. They were the thunderous wailing scorpions, with the skill paralysis lightning strike. They simultaneously jumped and pounced on him, creating a not-so-small tremor. Lin Yuan warily began to prepare to attack. Tightening the sword in his hand, he stared at them. Immediately afterward, Lin Yuan swung his sword, and the slash quickly pushed back the two scorpions. Then he lowered his sword, his eyes firmly locked on the target. Focusing his strength on the next strike, Lin Yuan swung his sword, creating a vortex that engulfed the scorpions inside. After a while, the system announced, "This area has eliminated a total of 60 thunderous wailing scorpions. Level increased to level 8. He thought tiredly, going straight to level 8. Even though collecting paralysis grass is a bit of a hassle, but the harvest is beyond expectations. Back to 2 days ago, in a gloomy corridor, Imor gradually approached him. He said, "Warrior, I have finally waited for you." Just at this moment, the system panel also appeared, detected a commission from the alchemist Imor. "Do you accept? Mission name, Imor's request, content, go to the Wailing Desert. Collect 100 paralysis grass and hand it over to Imor." Looking at it, he pondered. In a while, a special dungeon will be opened in the central area. In that dungeon, all the monsters are lightning-based, and to pass the level, you must have extremely high lightning resistance. Therefore, strong lightning resistance potions will be extremely scarce and cost tens of thousands of gold coins. Then he remembered the events of his previous life. In his previous life, someone made a fortune from this. And completing this task of collecting paralysis grass will grant the formula for making strong lightning resistance potions. Looking at the man in front of him, he happily thought, "Today is the first day Imor came to Black Sand Town. After handing over the mission, he will permanently disappear into obscurity. Which means, this is the only opportunity for players to receive the formula." Then Lin Yuan did not hesitate at all and clicked the accept button on the system panel. Back to the present, he was fighting with the monsters. While gently kicking a monster away, he pondered, "Thunderous wailing scorpions, level 6 lightning beasts. Guarding the paralysis grass. With my current strength, there is nothing to worry about for the time being." Standing in front of a bush of grass, he sat down and reached out his hand. "I have successfully snatched the mission, and by the way, I will fully level up the newly learned gathering skill." Lin Yuan activated the gathering skill, and the grass in front of him immediately separated and automatically gathered into his hand. After cleaning up the outside, he continued on, planning in his heart, "Let us go inside and see what is there." While walking, Lin Yuan suddenly stepped on a strange patch of sand. His keen senses made him stop immediately. The ground gradually shook as Lin Yuan stepped on that spot. He suddenly felt that something was wrong. Sure enough, a scorpion claw pierced straight up from the ground with great speed, and a loud crash echoed. Realizing that someone had stepped into its territory, the scorpion continued to target him and attack. But Lin Yuan's speed was no less. He immediately jumped back and shouted, "Baiyin Zhizhan." Then he maintained his balance, landed, and retreated far behind. The strength of the scorpion in front of him made his hair stand on end. His expression was no longer as calm as before but became extremely shocked. The monster's entire body emerged from the sand. The monster's information immediately appeared. Mutated monster, Thunderous Scorpion Elite appeared. At the same time, red danger warnings continuously appeared, overwhelming Lin Yuan's vision. The Thunderous Scorpion Elite had the skills Paralysis Lightning Strike, Piercing Poison Needle, Earth Cracking Claws, and Crystal Lightning Explosion. He was extremely surprised, not expecting a high-level mutated monster to appear here. However, this made Lin Yuan extremely excited. He smirked, "Even though it is a bit difficult right now. But today I will use you to forge Baiyin Zhizhan properly." Then Lin Yuan charged straight up to the scorpion. Streams of power continuously emanated from the sword in his hand. When the sword collided with its hard shell, a deafening clang rang out. Knowing this in advance, he was not very surprised. He thought, "The outer armor is so tightly closed that there is no place to break through." Sensing the murderous aura right next to its body, it frantically activated the paralysis lightning strike skill. Countless lightning bolts covered Lin Yuan's body. The pain that came made him frown and grit his teeth. It is lightning strike. Not stopping there, the scorpion continued to cast the piercing poison needle skill. Its tail aimed straight at his position and shot towards him. Lin Yuan quickly jumped up, narrowly avoiding the dangerous strike. Its tail did not have time to stop, and it stabbed straight into his body. Accidentally hoist with his own petard, making the scorpion even more frantic, it shrieked and fired lightning strike at him. Seeing that it was not as easy to deal with as he thought, Lin Yuan frowned and said, "Its strength is even beyond my expectations. I must divide its combat strength first." At this time, the scorpion had accelerated and chased in front of him. Unable to continue dawdling with it, his expression became serious, and he ordered in a deep voice, "Dog heads, come out." As soon as he finished speaking, the undead continuously appeared from inside the gate. Hearing their master's order, they excitedly rushed out to meet the enemy. With just one attack, Lin Yuan knocked the scorpion elite for 200 health. He noticed the difference and became vigilant. It did not activate double strike. The Scorpion Elite angrily cast another skill. The system displayed a notification. Boss cast the skill Earth Cracking Claws. With a loud roar, the ground appeared to subside and was accompanied by a strong attack. Lin Yuan quickly released a lot of fire spells like blue balls. The Scorpion Elite took all the attacks and cried out in pain. Lin Yuan triumphantly shouted, "Taste the power of my upgraded fire spells." Lin Yuan continued to release fire spells to attack, and the Scorpion Elite was hit continuously, losing 50 HP. His expression darkened, and he showed an unpredictable smile, preparing to make the next move, charge. Following Lin Yuan's order, countless ropes wrapped around the Scorpion Elite's body. The dog heads used ropes to pull the huge body hard. It screamed in pain, the cry resounding through the heavens and the earth. From the sky, another dog head holding a weapon rushed straight down to attack the tightly bound Scorpion Elite. The dog head used a hammer to knock hard on its head. Lin Yuan shouted at the same time, "Double critical strike." It appeared. At the same time, the system also announced, "Heavy strike activated double critical strike." The Scorpion Elite struggled in pain, snapping all the ropes that fixed it. Lin Yuan jumped up strongly into the air. He flew above the Scorpion Elite's head. Lin Yuan tried to find a weak point but said irritably, "There is no gap to break through the armor." He poured a large amount of strength into his fist. The system popped up a notification, detected that the player is equipped with the Title Hunter, increasing attack power, critical strike rate, and magic damage by 10% each. Sat Kai flashed in Lin Yuan's eyes, "Then I will smash your whole body, turning you into a pile of crispy pieces." He shouted with great momentum, "Get ready to welcome it." Then he put all his strength into a punch, smashing straight into the Scorpion Elite's head. The pressure caused the surrounding ground to shatter. Lin Yuan roared, "Break into bones and flesh." The Scorpion Elite opened its mouth and roared painfully. After the attack, dust flew everywhere, followed by a system notification, "You have successfully eliminated the mutated magic beast Thunderous Scorpion Elite, receiving 560 experience points." Lin Yuan quickly turned it into his undead, Thunderous Scorpion Elite, level 10, skills Paralysis Lightning Strike, Piercing Poison Needle, Earth Cracking Claws. Undead Body, Paralysis Lightning Strike, a lightning attack, with a 1-second paralysis effect, piercing. A moment later, other scorpions swarmed over, which caught Lin Yuan's attention. He glanced at the scorpion army that was eagerly advancing towards him. Lin Yuan did not show any fear when he saw them crawling quickly with crazy eyes. He gently lowered his eyes and calmly said, "Coming at just the right time." Lin Yuan controlled the Scorpion Elite to attack, and excitedly said, "Go, let me use my newly subdued pet to play with you guys for a round." Then he cast the skill Crystal Lightning Explosion. The scorpions were attacked by the Crystal Lightning Explosion and continuously lost health, and groans were heard throughout the space. Lin Yuan appeared like a ghost from behind, holding his sword in a posture to attack. He moved continuously with his sword to attack the scorpions, and with just one slash, he took down one. The system continuously rang out, "Hit the weak point." Lin Yuan continued to swing his sword, splitting the nearest scorpion's body in half. His sword stabbed hard into their weakest flesh. Lin Yuan smashed the scorpion's body as easily as eating candy, as many sword strikes as there were scorpion corpses lying down. By the time he finished dealing with them, it was already dusk. He stood on a golden sand dune, surrounded by the corpses of the scorpions, and the system's voice rang out non-stop. "Level up, Congratulations, you have leveled up to level 10. Lin Yuan opened his information panel. Currently, he was at level 10, job title Undead Hunter Forbidden, talent Black Demon Summoning, Netherworld Gate. He smiled in satisfaction after reading it. It feels great to level up 2 levels, not bad at all. In addition, the system also provided other information, received silver-grade weapons, lightning spear, guardian boots, paralysis ring, unning crossbow. Lin Yuan pondered. The loot in the chest is also all silver weapons. Selling some of them should be enough to help my parents improve their lives. He silently looked at the pile of scorpion corpses stacked up. The system announced again, the monsters in the area have been wiped out. Lin Yuan looked at the light in his body, and the system's voice rang out in his head. Congratulations, you have received a gold-grade skill book belonging to your personal profession. A book with a cover on the outside that had a pair of red eyes appeared in Lin Yuan's hand. He wondered, what is this? He touched the book, and a dazzling light was emitted. Its information was immediately displayed: Dark Curse Gold, learning conditions, limited to undead hunters. Lin Yuan sighed, not bad luck. After he opened the book, he immediately felt a great power. The skill book was automatically memorized into the player's memory. A beam of light struck Lin Yuan directly, and the system congratulated, the player has obtained an exclusive skill for undead hunters. The system explained the new skill, Dark Curse Gold, level 1, effect deals damage equal to 20% of the target's HP, or restores 20% HP to the undead. Consumes 100 magic power, cooldown 10 seconds, proficiency 0 out of 100. Lin Yuan looked at the flames burning on his hand and pondered, restore 20% HP to zombies. He glanced back. Currently, the Scorpion Elite's corpse was lying flat on the sand with a life value equal to 60%. Lin Yuan threw the flame in his hand towards the Scorpion Elite and muttered, let us try it. The flame flew and hit the face of the resting Scorpion Elite. The Scorpion Elite roared excitedly, and its HP was restored to 80%. Lin Yuan remembered the image of that believer player and decided, the warm-up is over, it is time to go to the main city, Sand-Blowing Wind, to find the first believer. A black hand-shaped shadow was placed on his shoulder. Lin Yuan glanced and realized that something was wrong. Wait, could it be? Because of some things, he had to log out of the game immediately. Outside in reality, after taking off the helmet, he saw his mother Lin placing her hand on his shoulder and saying worriedly, this is bad, Yuan, your dad just hurt his back, come and help. Lin Yuan immediately ran outside and helped his father Lin slowly sit on the sofa. Dad, take it easy. Father Lin was in so much pain that his face turned purple as he lay on the sofa and touched his back. Mother Lin sat down on the chair and massaged him, and she complained. You are already this old, and you do not know how to take care of yourself. You would not be careful when fixing the air conditioner. Father Lin sighed and replied, I was just saving money. The washing machine broke last week, and I only did a little bit to fix it. He continued, this little injury is nothing, I will be fine after a sleep. I still have to go to school to pick up Xiaoten tomorrow. Lin Yuan stood at the door silently for a long time, and he silently looked into the room. The next morning at the apartment building where the Lin Yuan family lived, Father Lin snored in his sleep, and saliva was still flowing all over the place, while Mother Lin was woken up by the noise. She stood behind him and cautiously went outside. Mother Lin asked in surprise, Yuan, is that you? Why is it so noisy so early in the morning? In front of them were staff members wearing blue uniforms installing a brand new TV in the living room. A staff member suddenly approached the two of them, and said flatteringly, excuse me, are you Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin? This is the new thing that Mr. Lin Yuan bought. We will deliver and install it immediately, please confirm and check it. The two Mr. and Mrs. Lin shouted in fright, oh my god. Looking at the staff members who were busy installing over there, Mother Lin whispered to Father Lin, hey, Lao Lin, do not tell me I am still dreaming, what is going on here? At the gym, Lin Yuan wore tight black clothes, revealing his well-defined six-pack abs, which attracted the attention of the surrounding girls. When he was running on the treadmill, a soft female voice rang out, excuse me, sorry to bother you. The staff member approached Lin Yuan and showed a friendly smile, excuse me, do you want to get a VIP package? We need to pay for 1 year in advance. Lin Yuan handed the card to the staff member without beating around the bush. Here, this is my bank card. He thought to himself, I will sell some of the unused things, renovate the house, and register for a family fitness card by the way. Lin Yuan showed a serious expression when he thought of his parents Lin and Lin Tan. After all, His parents and Xiao Tan also needed to exercise early, so that they could adapt more quickly when they achieved immortality in the future. The staff member did not know why she blushed in front of Lin Yuan and said to herself, "This customer has been training for so long, and he is still not blushing or panting. And his body is also very good." But then she widened her eyes and looked at the bank card in her hand in surprise. "This is." She grabbed the card tightly, and exclaimed in surprise, "A high-end VIP card that is only issued to people with savings accounts of over 5 million in the bank." Lin Yuan did not care about her, and he wiped the sweat from his face while answering a phone call from his parents. "Lin, hello, that is right. That is the prize money from the previous game competition. Yes, you can stay home and rest. I will take care of Xiao Tan's business." The staff member stared at Lin Yuan, and she sighed in her heart, "This customer seems to be very young, so admirable." At Tu Shui No, one middle school, students left the school one after another and talked noisily. "School's over, let us go. Let us go to the internet cafe next door to play a game. Hey, do not forget me." A blonde girl slowly walked down the stairs. That person was none other than Lin Tan, Lin Yuan's younger sister. Lin Tan inadvertently heard the conversation of two classmates. "Hey, come to my house today. I am celebrating my birthday. My brother bought my favorite strawberry cake. It is so good to have a brother, so envious. I also want a brother." Speaking of brother, she could not help but wonder, is having a brother really that envious? Lin Tan remembered the image of Lin Yuan in his room, addicted to games and ignoring anyone in the family. She clutched the strap of her school bag and thought strongly, "I do not want a brother." Suddenly, a boy blocked Lin Tan's path and said, "Lin, our class flower is putting on a big show." He and his companions smiled sinisterly. "We have asked you out many times, but they have all been unsuccessful." The long-haired guy stared at Lin Tan and smiled meaningfully. "Otherwise, I will just come and invite you directly. You should give me face, right?" Lin Tan retreated warily. "What do you want to do?" Two classmates spoke worriedly. "Class monitor, who are they?" The long-haired thug smiled lewdly and moved closer to Lin Tan. "Looking at your soft skin, let me see if I can squeeze water out of you." She uncomfortably shook off the hand that was about to touch her body. "Don't touch me, get out." Lin Tan pointed at the thugs and warned, "If you keep bothering me, I will call the police." The brown-haired thug angrily slapped her. "Damn it, you do not know what is good for you." She fell hard to the schoolyard, and two classmates screamed worriedly, "Class monitor." The hot-blooded brown-haired thug rushed forward, preparing to beat Lin Tan. "Touching you is valuing you, what are you pretending to be?" Lin Tan closed her eyes tightly, knowing that she could not resist, and raised her hands to defend. Suddenly, a hand appeared and grabbed the thug's wrist tightly. Lin Tan waited for a long time but did not see anyone attack, so she opened her eyes, and she was surprised by the scene in front of her. The person who came was none other than Lin Yuan, and he looked at the thug threateningly with cold eyes. "Who gave you the right to bully my sister?" Lin Tan called his name with a surprised expression, "Lin Yuan," but Lin Yuan looked at the thug with murderous intent. The thug angrily swung his hand at him. "Damn it, where did this wild dog come from?" The group of thugs rushed up together to attack Lin Yuan. "Today if I do not knock all your teeth out, then I will take your surname. Do you want to die?" The brown-haired thug was being held by one hand, but he still used his other hand to attack him. "Don't say much, break his arms first." With just one spin, Lin Yuan took down two of them, and blood spurted out of their mouths. One of them was kicked by him so painfully that he flew up like a ball, and the leader brown-haired thug was kicked right in the head. He was also stepped on hard in the face by Lin Yuan, causing blood to spurt out. He put his hands in his pockets and looked down with contempt. After a fight, or rather, Lin Yuan beating up the thugs, they failed and lay groaning at his feet. Lin Yuan glanced back and said to Lin Tan and the two classmates who had witnessed everything from just now with their mouths agape, "Let us go." Lin Tan walked side by side with Lin Yuan, and asked curiously, "Why are you here today?" She thought to herself, "This guy only knows how to bury his head in games all day long. Why did he come to pick me up from school today?" Lin Yuan explained, "Dad hurt his back, and Mom is at home taking care of him." Lin Tan hurriedly asked worriedly, "Hurt his back, is it serious?" Lin Yuan calmly replied, "It is not too serious." The conversation came to a dead end, and the space returned to its silent and awkward appearance. Lin Tan secretly looked at him, shyly thinking to herself, "It feels like it has been a long time since I talked to him like this, how embarrassing." Lin Yuan did not expose her gaze, and was silent all the way home with his sister. Lin Tan's two classmates called out loudly, breaking the silence, "Class monitor, class monitor." The girl with glasses whispered in her ear, "Class monitor, Your brother is so good, he even came to pick you up from school, unlike my brother, that lazy bum. The long-haired girl nodded in agreement. That is right, so you have a brother who is so handsome and capable. Why have not I heard you mention it before? Lin Tan was a little dazed and thoughtful when she heard the compliments for her brother. Handsome, him. Lin Tan looked at the strong back of her brother, and around them were the discussions of students when looking at Lin Yuan. Who is he? He is so handsome. That is right. It seems like a former student has returned to school. He looks more elegant than many boys in the school. Looking at the girls blushing shyly when looking at Lin Yuan, Lin Tan wondered, his popularity is so high. A pink-haired girl took courage and said, hello, brother. Lin Yuan also replied, hello? Looking at the size gap between the two people when standing close to each other, Lin Tan could not help but think, his height is impressive. I have not noticed it before, maybe it is because I do not stand close enough to see clearly. She thought to herself, he must have started working out a long time ago. I can see his muscles clearly. Unexpectedly, he was so strong when he just fought, truly a surprise. An image of Lin Yuan burying his face in the phone playing games appeared in her mind. Lin Yuan thought, clearly the same person. Then she remembered the image of Lin Yuan with a stubbled beard, the messy room. But he did not care and continued to play games. Lin Tan was stunned. Why does it feel like he suddenly changed so much? The two classmates turned around and waved to Lin Tan. See you tomorrow, she replied happily, see you tomorrow. Then Lin Tan looked over at her brother in a daze again. Lin Yuan knelt down on one knee and said to her, get on. Lin Tan blushed shyly, and the girls behind exclaimed in admiration. Lin Tan waved her hand to refuse. No need, I can walk by myself. She thought in a panic, what are you doing? I do not want to be carried in front of so many people. Suddenly, Lin Tan was pulled unexpectedly. Lin Yuan forced Lin Tan to sit on his back, and she called out in alarm, hey, you. Lin Yuan said calmly, your classmates are all gone. If you can't walk, then do not. He bluntly exposed her. You were pushed down just now. You sprained your foot, right? Sure enough, the area below Lin Tan's ankle was bruised. She blushed and asked in her head, when did he find out? After returning home, Mr. and Mrs.? Lin looked at their two children carrying each other home intimately in surprise, and Lin Yuan spoke first, we are back. Lin Tan also greeted, Mom and Dad. Mr. and Mrs.? Lin looked at each other in confusion. Mother Lin hugged Father Lin's arm, and he nodded in response. It is good that you are back. After the whole family finished eating, Lin Yuan volunteered to wash the dishes in the sink. Looking at Lin Yuan's diligent back in the kitchen, Mother Lin asked her daughter, Tan Tan, do not you think your brother is like a different person now? Father Lin stroked his chin thoughtfully and agreed, that is right, he cooks and washes dishes and buys new electrical appliances for the family. Lin Tan pursed her lips helplessly, and did not know what to say. Mother Lin leaned over and whispered to Lin Tan, what is more, the relationship between you two siblings is much better now than when you were little. She choked on her drink and replied, really? Lin Tan blew on the hot tea and thought silently, that guy is really strange, has he really changed? Lin Yuan announced after washing the dishes, it is all done. He closed his eyes and took off his apron. I am going back to my room first. Lin Tan watched Lin Yuan slam the door shut. She lowered her eyes slightly and thought, what am I expecting? In the end, he is still a game addict who does not do anything. Suddenly, Lin Yuan put a large box of medicine in Lin Tan's hand, surprising her. Lin Yuan remember to apply the medicine after taking a bath. This is very effective. Before closing the door, he carefully instructed, I am going to play games, do not come into my room if there is nothing. Lin Tan held the bottle of medicine with both hands and did not know what to say. A moment later, she replied with red eyes, I know, who would want to go into your room? Lin Tan showed a happy smile. Lin Yuan sighed in his room when he heard the conversation between Mother Lin and Lin Tan outside. See, I told you, the relationship between you two is much better now. Did anything happen at school today? No, Mom, I am going to take a bath. Lin Yuan leaned back in his chair to rest, and muttered, so the things at home recently can be considered temporarily over. He looked at the virtual reality helmet on the table. Lin Yuan quickly picked it up and put it on, telling himself, it is time to go back to playing games. He logged into his game account right in the city area, sand blowing wind. He left from high above, and when he landed, he created a strong impact that caused the ground to crack. And dust flew everywhere. Lin Yuan smiled with interest and said, let us get that rat out. He walked quickly forward, and the system announced, you have entered sand blowing wind. Inside the main city, A middle-aged man was being trampled on the ground, and he pleaded painfully, "Dear sir, I swear to God, this is just a misunderstanding." The soldier still stepped on the man's back, holding a spear and threatening, "Shut up, take your dirty lies to prison and repent." Lin Yuan stood like a ghost in a distant place, observing everything. The soldier sensed a gaze and turned his face to look in that direction. But when he turned his head, Lin Yuan had disappeared, and the soldier wondered, "That is strange, was it an illusion?" After the man was escorted away, the soldier grabbed his collar and escorted him on the corridor. "Go obediently." Lin Yuan stealthily hid behind a nearby wall. He thought to himself, "The patrol soldiers on the street are very sensitive to criminals. I must hide for 3 more days to calculate the time to clear my sin points." Lin Yuan left the building, determined in his heart, "It is also a good time to retrieve my old friend who I have not seen for a long time." At the church, which was built like a magnificent palace, Father Lawrence stood on the podium, holding a cup and giving a purification speech to the person in front of him. "In the name of God, wash away all the darkness in your past. From now on, your soul will be as pure as new snow, and the path you take will be guided by the light of the saint. Now, I will perform the baptism for you." At this time, a voice came from outside the door, "I am from the Benevolent Charity Institute." Lawrence was startled and looked over there. Lin Yuan calmly walked over and asked, "I heard that you are taking in a seriously ill patient here. I am here to treat him." He was led to a room, and the person inside respectfully asked, "Greetings, Mr. Victor, Mr. Doug's illness is up to you." Lin Yuan replied indifferently, "Okay." Doug Vane was currently lying on the sickbed, gasping for breath. Seeing the familiar face, he remembered a little. Doug Vane, once a member of the most powerful Knight Order in the ancient Shima country, the Lion-Scorpion Knight Order. In his previous life, when he had just reached level 15, it was thanks to him that he obtained a golden grade weapon. At that time, Doug, a former member of the Wyvern Knight Order, rode a ferocious monster to him. Lin Yuan said seriously, "Mr. Doug, I am here to treat the toxins in your body." Doug stared at him, assessing him. Very quickly, he realized that Lin Yuan was only level 10. Doug slowly sat up, and said disdainfully, "Just based on you, a level 10 mage, the patrol soldiers on the street are higher level than you." But as soon as he finished speaking, he vomited a mouthful of black blood. Observing the thick blood on the bed, Lin Yuan reminded, "The toxins in your body have begun to corrode your internal organs. If you do not let me treat you, I am afraid you won't live for more than 1 month." He bluntly informed Doug of his condition. He did not believe that a level 10 guy could do anything, but he still only asked about the treatment method. "If you want to treat my toxins, you must have 1,000 grams of hufa fish fat. If you are not afraid of death, just go to the muddy swamp and try to find it." The system quickly displayed a notification, activated Doug's golden level quest. The content is to collect 1,000 grams of hufa fish fat, and treat the toxins in Doug's body. Lin Yuan smiled excitedly and replied, "Of course." Cut to muddy swamp. Just by looking at it, you knew countless people had died here. Skulls were still floating on the water. Fish swam around in the swamp. Those were elite level hufa fish, level 15. With the skill's tail wave counterattack, symbiotic gill curse. Its face was ferocious, its sharp teeth were always ready to catch prey. There was a group of people surrounding the school of fish. They supported each other and rushed over. "Come on, these guys have sharp teeth, do not let them bite you, charge." But with their strength alone, they could not resist, and everyone ran around in panic, screaming, "My back." The hufa fish threw a ball towards them. Immediately, the formation of this night order was broken. Some people fell into the swamp and were surrounded by the hufa fish. They kept screaming, "Help, save me." The hufa fish swung its tail, activating the skill tail wave counterattack. Suddenly, it roared loudly, revealing a wide mouth and sharp teeth. The blonde knight struggled to swing his sword to resist. However, the hufa fish had already opened its mouth wide, preparing to swallow him. The blonde knight panicked and thought, "I am really going to die this time." Just at this moment, Lin Yuan appeared from somewhere behind him. He quickly grabbed the blonde knight by the collar. Then he threw him back, scolding with an impatient expression, "Stop blocking the way." Lin Yuan cast his fire magic. The reflection of the flames in the eyes of the hufa fish. The fire magic was fired straight at the head, causing it to explode. After finishing, Lin Yuan gently landed on the ground before the eyes of the blonde knight, who still did not understand what had just happened. He pulled his teammate and sighed, "Really powerful," the teammate agreed, but still warned vigilantly, "But it is still too early to be careless." Sure enough, the school of hufa fish immediately gathered to take revenge for their companions, and everyone shouted, "Look, the school of fish is coming!" Lin Yuan still stood there calmly, and the figure of the undead had already appeared beside him. The scorpion elite that he released activated the skill Crystal Lightning Storm. Each lightning bolt flew straight towards the school of fish without mercy. Everyone who witnessed the Hufa fish struggling in the water in difficulty exclaimed in shock, a full-scale bombing. The crystal lightning brushed past the fins of the Hufa fish. The Hufa fish screamed miserably in pain from being hit, but they could not die. A knight hugged his head in despair. As expected, it can't be done, the level difference and number are too large, it is impossible to wipe out the entire school of fish at once. Suddenly, Lin Yuan jumped high into the air. He widened the distance with them by going to the nearby cliff, and said in a casual tone, "Who said I was going to kill them all?" Lin Yuan immediately put on a gas mask. The blonde knight was stunned. "Wait, this is..." The teammate next to him suddenly shouted, "It seems that the scorpion is only targeting the bellies of the female fish." The situation in the swamp changed, and the fish turned to look at their companions like prey, and everyone exclaimed in surprise, "Everyone, look, it seems that the male fish are starting to bite each other." When he said these words, he was also in a panic. Inside, a Hufa fish had swallowed another one. Looking at the purple liquid flowing out of a fish's corpse, Lin Yuan said to himself, "When the female Hufa fish dies or lays eggs, it will release a large amount of musk, attracting male fish to fall into a frenzied state to protect the eggs and immediately open the indiscriminate attack mode." Seeing the scene as expected, Lin Yuan said with satisfaction, "Just taking advantage of this characteristic to make the fish kill each other." Suddenly, a fish dived down. It swam quickly to Lin Yuan. As soon as it got close, the fish launched up, opening its mouth wide to attack, and the people around shouted worriedly, "Great God, be careful." However, Lin Yuan still stood there calmly, facing this huge Hufa fish. Others panicked looking at the size of this fish. "What, is this one also a female fish? Why is it almost as big as the male fish?" Lin Yuan lowered his face, his hair covering his expression, and he said indifferently, "Coming at just the right time." Lin Yuan opened the door to the underworld and released his undead, and he ordered, "Corpse wolf zombies, go." The wolves immediately rushed up to bite back at the Hufa fish. Looking at the wolves struggling to subdue it, Lin Yuan sighed, as expected of a level 15 elite monster. Observing the fish still struggling and roaring, he commented, "Even if 6 corpse wolves are released, they can't deal fatal damage." Lin Yuan grabbed the hilt of his sword, and muttered, "But it is enough to make you unable to move." He moved quickly and slashed a line on its body, and the system immediately issued a notification, "Defeated the elite Hufa fish." Lin Yuan continued to open the belly of the fish and said to himself, "It is enough just to do this." He took out a few round balls from the belly of the Hufa fish. Inside there were quite a few similar round balls, filling the body of the Hufa fish instead of meat. The blonde knight wondered, what is Great God doing? Only to see Lin Yuan order the corpse wolf, "Go to the biggest rock in the middle." The wolf listened and immediately carried the head of the Hufa fish away. When it reached a cliff, Lin Yuan ordered, "That is the place." The undead wolf put the head of the fish down, and then roared. The head of the fish suddenly emitted a scent. Lin Yuan knew what it was, so he said casually, "Attract them." The fish seemed to smell a familiar scent. When he shouted, "Come here all," the eyes of the school of fish lit up, and they swam over crazily. The head of the fish hit the cliff hard. Not only one but the other fish also tried their best to hit their heads in that place, and everyone exclaimed in surprise, "The school of fish is stunned." Someone remembered an important piece of knowledge, and immediately explained to the group, "I remember fish eggs have a special attraction to male fish," so is he deliberately creating a continuous source of pheromones, causing the entire school of fish to be confused. At this time, Lin Yuan was still not satisfied. He raised his hand to control his aura. "It is still not enough, charge. This is what is for you." The dog-head miners carrying picks walked out from the door to the underworld. Lin Yuan ordered them, "Charge." The dog-head miners slammed their picks straight into the heads of the fish, and a green liquid spurted out. Someone exclaimed in surprise, "This is the green venom sac in the male fish's body." Lin Yuan explained their doubts. "That is right. The green venom sac develops in male fish. It is a substance similar to capsaicin. The poisonous gas and stench it emits will make the living fish realize the danger and run away." Sure enough, the fish quickly turned their heads and ran away. The bloody head of the unlucky fish was thrown into the water. Lin Yuan looked at this scene and continued to explain, "Staying away from a radius of at least 5 meters, not daring to stay, and even they themselves are not immune to the toxins. Once they are hit, they can only wait to be slaughtered." The Night Order was so happy when they saw this that they jumped up and down. It is gone, the fish are all gone. Lin Yuan did not rest, he went to the fish. Next is the part of harvesting the spoils. The Night Order sighed. He can clean up the entire battlefield alone. It is unbelievable. He is really extraordinary. I want to have Great God as my backer. Lin Yuan used his skillful swordsmanship to divide the fish into many pieces, and when he was done, he said completed. He gently landed where he was standing just now, right in front of the Night Order. The system appeared, received 12,000 experience points, leveled up to level 11. Lin Yuan thought to himself, thanks to the experience accumulated from hundreds of playthroughs in this dungeon in my previous life, I was able to clear it so quickly this time. He breathed a sigh of relief and took off the gas mask on his face, thinking to himself, this mask also contributed a lot in this battle. Lin Yuan collected the fat of the female Hufa fish, and still felt regret in his heart. It is a pity that I spent 5 gold coins and can only use it once, a bit of a loss, but it is worth it. The system described 1,000 grams of Hufa fish oil, extracted from the fat glands of Hufa fish living in the swamp, is one of the raw materials for making high-level recovery medicine. Effective in treating corrosive poisons and necrotic wounds, and can stimulate dead tissue to regenerate into healthy skin and flesh. Suddenly Lin Yuan was startled. I almost forgot, this is. A bright red ball appeared in his hand. That was the wave-riding clown nose, silver-grade protective equipment, made from Hufa fish skin. The effect is to emit the pheromones of the Hufa fish, causing fear to small and medium-sized aquatic creatures. He looked at the nose, which was no different from a clown nose, in silence. Lin Yuan's face darkened as he recalled his previous life. At that time, he could not figure out whether the mission reward was too generous, or whether the game designers were too trollish, that they dropped this weird thing. Suddenly, the blonde knight rushed out and stared at the nose. This is so cool, it can even light up. He could not restrain his love, his eyes lit up and he praised excitedly, oh my god, it even vibrates. Lin Yuan hesitated and held out the nose to ask, you like this fake nose? The blonde knight happily waved his money and replied, it is extremely unique, great god, can you sell it to me? How much does it cost? His teammates felt embarrassed and hurriedly pulled the blonde knight back. Sorry, he is like that. Lin Yuan threw the nose to him helplessly. I will just give it to you. The blonde knight said shyly, wait, at least let me pay. Before he could finish his words, Lin Yuan raised his hand to interrupt. No need. At this time, in the eyes of the blonde knight, Lin Yuan seemed to have grown wings as pure as an angel. He was moved to tears. He is really an angel. Meanwhile, his friends were desperate and helpless. Oh heavens, oh earth, oh ghosts and gods, I did not expect someone to actually spend money to buy this thing. Back at the church, Lin Yuan poured the collected potion on Doug. Feeling his body gradually recovering, Doug asked in surprise, what is this? He sat up and looked at Lin Yuan with regret in his eyes. I did not expect you to actually collect it. The system also announced, you have completed Doug's golden quest, receiving the golden weapon, Soul Cleaver. Lin Yuan happily held the sword in his hand, thinking to himself, I finally got the Soul Cleaver, the first golden grade weapon that I won in my previous life. The sword has an accompanying skill, Soul Seal, with a range of 100 to 150 meters, dealing damage equal to 150% of the spirit to the target enemy, no cooldown. Costing 10 MP. He recalled carefully, the weapon's own effect is also average, but the accompanying skill Soul Seal is extremely effective in combat, especially the hidden effect. Each hit will accumulate the soul energy in the enemy's body. After 3 hits, it will deal an additional damage equal to 250% of the spirit. Thinking of this, Lin Yuan was even more satisfied with it. Lin Yuan recalled his previous life. In the beginning, thanks to the Soul Cleaver, I swept through the Western Desert, and went straight to the position of the number 1 mage in the Western Desert. He caressed the sword and heard the announcement, plus 1,000 reputation in the city area, Lion Scorpion Knight Order reputation plus 500. Lin Yuan thought to himself, even though the reputation points received are still the same as in his previous life, only reaching a neutral level, but that is enough for him to operate in the city area. Suddenly, the system panel lit up again, and he was startled and doubtful. There is still more. The system reported, due to your outstanding completion of the mission, you have received a reward of 10 favor points from NPC Doug. Lin Yuan thought defensively. This time, it seems a little different. After checking his body, Doug said happily, thank you so much, brother, if it was not for you, I would have died in bed next month. Lin Yuan replied coldly, "You are welcome." Doug said again, "To thank you, I must remind you of one thing." Lin Yuan pursed his lips and thought to himself, "It is thanks to getting 10 favor points that the hidden plot was activated." Unexpectedly, Doug warned, "If you meet someone named Quincy, you must stay away from him." Lin Yuan asked in confusion, "Quincy is my guide, why do you say that?" Doug exclaimed in panic, "What?" He stuttered and asked again, "He is your guide." Doug sat on the edge of the bed and sighed, "Although you have hidden your true profession, but actually." He stood in front of him, and asked bluntly, "You are an undead hunter, right?" Lin Yuan's face sank, and he asked vigilantly, "How do you know I am an undead hunter?" He thought to himself, "After hiding the information, even Quincy should not know his identity, that is right." Doug explained, "I used to be a member of the Lion-Scorpion Knight Order, under the direct command of the king, specializing in performing top-secret missions, including hunting down undead hunters. Therefore, I have learned a special skill called Sense Darkness." Lin Yuan asked suspiciously, "Sense Darkness?" He explained, "Sense Darkness is an exclusive skill of the Lion-Scorpion Knight Order. Once an undead hunter appears, it will automatically sense them, the closer the distance, the clearer the sensation." And now, Doug has sensed the dark aura from him through his skill. Lin Yuan wondered, "So you discovered my identity a long time ago?" He pondered, "I did not expect there to be a skill that specifically counters undead hunters." Doug shook his head and looked at his arm. "No, I was severely poisoned at first, and my senses were weakened, so I did not notice. Now that I have been detoxified, how can I not see the unique aura of the Dark Lord on your body?" Lin Yuan caught an important element, Dark Lord. Doug sighed and said, "This has to start a long time ago. In the most popular legend about immortality, this world has a total of 5 gods: the god of light, the moonlight monarch, the goddess of nature, the tide lord, and the spirit king. But in fact, there was originally a 6th god, the Dark Lord, also known as the immortal king, who was the strongest of the 6 gods. Also because he was too strong, he relied on his strength to do evil. It was also because of that power that the Dark Lord had countless believers. And he granted the most loyal group of his believers the terrifying dark power, and from then on, they changed their profession to undead hunters, carrying out his oracle for him. Under the bloody rule of the Dark Lord, undead hunters sowed plagues that killed millions of people. The scene at that time was extremely terrifying and tragic. They even turned countless souls into the undead, causing countless disasters. As a result, major countries began to boycott the Dark Lord. The temples that were originally used to worship him were destroyed. All records related to him were completely burned. And once an undead hunter was discovered, they would be executed on the spot. From then on, this profession became a forbidden profession that everyone hated. Doug seriously recounted, "At that time, I was poisoned by an undead hunter in battle, and I was tormented by the disease for 10 years. I thought I would die slowly until you appeared." Lin Yuan remembered his own status panel and recalculated. In his previous life, he was just a mage. I did not expect there to be such a shocking secret hidden behind the legend. He frowned and said to himself, "No wonder undead hunter is a forbidden profession. It is fortunate that he is still in a hidden state." Lin Yuan rubbed his chin in distress. "Then it is troublesome. I thought that after solving the sin points, I could hide and investigate the clues of the badge in the city." He secretly decided, "But it seems that if I do not think of a way to hide the aura of the Dark Lord early, I will be exposed at any time." Lin Yuan asked, "Doug, is there a way to avoid the sense darkness of the Lion-Scorpion Knight Order?" He replied seriously, "Unless Quincy is willing to help you, but once he knows your true identity, Quincy will definitely kill you immediately." Doug said sadly, "Because years ago, an undead hunter killed the wife he loved the most. That is why I advised you to stay away from him absolutely." Lin Yuan fell silent for a long time. Then he returned to the rubble desert. As soon as he stepped into it, the system reported the news, "You have returned to the rubble desert." 10 minutes ago, Doug yelled to stop him, "Are you crazy? You really want to find Quincy? He hates undead hunters so much that he wants to tear them to pieces." Lin Yuan turned his head coldly and replied, "I have no other choice." He walked firmly, thinking in his heart, "Carrying this dark aura, not to mention the city, I will run into trouble wherever I go. It must be resolved as soon as possible." Suddenly, several arrows shot quickly to attack him from somewhere. Lin Yuan vigilantly turned his head to look over. Lin Yuan asked himself while dodging to one side, "What?" He circled out to a place farther than before to widen the distance with the attacker. At this time, an army galloped over on horseback. The leader looked at him with a smug look. "I have been wandering around this broken place for a few days, and I finally caught you, you brat." He laughed slyly and continued, I let you trick me last time. This time your dad brought more than 30 brothers. His companions chimed in, let us see how you die. The blonde guy sarcastically said, remember to shout loudly when your head falls to the ground. Okay, I like to hear it. At this time, a bee flew over. Its eyes widened and connected to the live stream room, and everyone's phone immediately had a notification. Bloodstained Guild is live streaming. People who were watching through their phones quickly heard the voice. The audience is so lucky, they made it in time to watch this live stream. The blonde guy smiling lewdly announced, next, we will show everyone how to slowly tear a person to pieces. The number of people currently online quickly increased from 88 to 212. Some people watched together through their computers and wondered, what, is the Bloodstained Guild live streaming slaughtering newbies again? Some people were curious, 30-odd versus 1, who was unlucky enough to run into this group of thugs. There were also some people who seemed familiar with this war. The girl in the group said, it looks so familiar, he is quite handsome, it is a pity that he is about to be killed by the Bloodstained Guild. Lin Yuan provoked, with just 2 wild dogs like you, it is not enough for me to warm up. Since you offered your heads up, I will collect them again. Hearing this, the comments immediately exploded, and everyone felt that he was either reckless or cool. The leader angrily shouted, everyone charge. The assassins holding dual blades rushed forward quickly. The mages stood behind to support them. Next to them, the archers drew their bows to attack, and the shout rang out, go to hell. The assassins surrounded him from above, preparing to ambush Lin Yuan. The system announced, confirmed to be a malicious attack. The counterattack period is 15 minutes. Killing the attacker during this time will not count as sin points. Lin Yuan raised his sword, and arrogantly announced, 15 minutes, enough to kill 3 rounds. He immediately opened the door to the underworld, summoning his undead corpse legion. Let us go out and play. A ball of lightning shot from the sky. It was immediately broken by the dog-head minor overseer. Lin Yuan said with contempt from behind, you dare to call this spark lightning? Next, he ordered, thunderous scorpion zombie, attack with poison. Seeing that the situation was not good, the leader hurriedly commanded, all troops pay attention, warriors retreat, set up shields, mages concentrate fire, thieves and archers move and attack guerrillas. They quickly took their positions and deployed their formation. The magic staffs slammed hard on the ground. They strengthened the support for the people in front. The mages put all their strength into creating a large ball of lightning. Then he strained to launch the ball towards Lin Yuan. The scorpion zombies that were hit could no longer continue fighting. The leader again commanded the archers, shoot arrows. The monsters were attacked from a distance by powerful arrows, causing them to continuously lose health. The number of people online dropped to 168. Dissatisfied comments jumped out. Some people even said that Lin Yuan was a fake tough guy, and some people played a betting game to see how long he could hold on. The other side triumphantly and arrogantly announced, so what if you can summon zombies, even if you call out that thing from last time, under my continuous attacks? It will only turn into a pile of minced meat. You are definitely going to die today. Lin Yuan lowered his face. No one could see his expression clearly, and he said calmly, is that so? The leader immediately became vigilant. This guy is smiling. Seeing that the situation was not right, comments suddenly appeared. What the hell is going on? The ground under their feet gradually collapsed. The mages were attacked from below, and screamed without being able to react. Huh? The sand pit, like an underground tornado, sucked them in, and the mages could only beg, save me. At this moment, the dog-head miner zombie appeared with a hammer in his hand. The dog-head miner zombie attacked continuously, and the mages, in pain, screamed miserably, just one move, retreat. The two sides fought back and forth, but the cries for help, save me, proved that the weaker side was the Bloodstained Guild. The leader and the blonde guy were horrified when they saw this and shouted, what? The number of people online skyrocketed, and the direction of public opinion also changed. Everyone was surprised by this scene. No one thought that zombies could combine attacks and know how to come out of the ground. At the same time, they felt satisfied that the group had to pay a heavy price. The mages who were lucky enough to escape quickly retreated and warned, be careful, the wounds are poisonous, purify them before healing. However, they were immediately attacked violently, unable to resist and could only scream. It turned out that Lin Yuan had used fire magic to attack from afar. The power of the fire magic was not something those mages could withstand. From behind Lin Yuan, a space vortex suddenly appeared. Without saying a word, he quickly swung the sword in his hand and stabbed it straight into the vortex. Fai Long suffered a sword that pierced his body, and stammered in horror, how did you know? Lin Yuan looked at him indifferently. At least I am not stupid enough to hide in the sand desert. The people around him also gradually became panicked. Strong, too strong, the front line is all dead, everyone, run away. At this time, Fai Hu raised the sword high in his hand. He cursed angrily, damn it, a bunch of useless trash. Then Fai Hu directly jumped high, pointing his sword at Lin Yuan. I will deal with you myself. He listened and was silent, his eyes full of murderous intent looking up at him. Then Lin Yuan powerfully swung the sword in his hand. A violent move was quickly launched, along with his provocation. Then let us try it. Those skulls that flew out were the soul seal. They looked extremely barbaric, their mouths open as if they wanted to swallow their opponent. Fai Hu stood rooted to the spot, not daring to say a word. His face clearly showed extreme fear. Lin Yuan then calmly made his move and shouted slash. His foot quickly braced against the ground. Lin Yuan stabilized his posture. He had now walked to behind Fai Hu, and they were both silent and said nothing. Then suddenly Lin Yuan began to count 3. His whole body trembled with each count 2. When the time reached 1, Fai Hu's whole body exploded. He screamed in pain. Lin Yuan calmly witnessed the scene, and murmured softly, as expected, old friends are easier to use. The number of viewers after this scene directly increased to more than 500, and the chat lines appeared non-stop. Damn it, this effect must have been paid for. Right, Fai Hu sighed, so scary, great God, fireworks. Several others chimed in. Whoever said they would tear people to pieces but got torn into a fairy flower rain. Does great God lack a tape attachment? I have 666 extremely hot ones, the system suddenly announced. Player Huang Feihu has left the physical livestream room. At this time, only Fai Long was left standing opposite the situation in front of him, when everyone in the team had been defeated one after another, screaming miserably, help. He was stunned and could not believe it. Am I hallucinating? Fai Long was shocked by Lin Yuan. Clearly it had only been a few days since they last met. But that guy was just standing there. The image of him manipulating everything made him wary. It was as if he was facing a demon that had stepped out of hell. Lin Yuan finally turned his head to look at Fai Long. He immediately trembled all over. Do not kill me, help. However, no one around was left alive. Lin Yuan calmly pulled his sword out of the body of the person. He slowly approached Fai Long, and said softly, now then. In an instant, Lin Yuan's sword pierced through his head. It is your turn to taste despair. Fai Long's whole body was pushed back hard, and blood spurted out in streams, and he could not resist with his body like this. Lin Yuan stood in the distance and sighed calmly, it is over. His eyes glanced slightly into the distance. There was a large bee staring at Lin Yuan. Even so, he did not pay much attention to it, gently waving his hand. I almost forgot. With just one small move, an explosion burst out in the direction of the bee. Witnessing this scene of smoke and dust, Lin Yuan only commented softly, it is quiet now. Cut to a hanging villa somewhere in Blue Star. The person could not hide his surprise. What the great God even blew up the live streaming bee? Someone else wondered, does anyone know who the boss is? One person quickly messaged, I know, it is the person who destroyed the direwolf. I was there too. Where is the boss now? I want to meet him. It looks like the rubble desert area, right? The mercenary guild has sent a level S invitation. One person with a gloomy face gritted his teeth softly, Lin Yuan. Cut to Black Sand Town, undying. Quincy was sleeping on a wine barrel. Lin Yuan gently pushed the door open and walked in. As soon as he saw him, he was surprised, it is you again. Then Quincy quickly waved his hand to refuse. No more teaching, the wine money is enough to spend, today. I am too lazy to move. Lin Yuan did not care, cancelled his hidden profession and spoke, I want to talk to you. His information panel quickly appeared. Player Lin Yuan, level 11, is an undead hunter, with the talent of dark summoning, and many other things. The wine jug in Quincy's hand immediately fell to the ground, shattering. He gritted his teeth angrily, you are an undead hunter. The space between the two people seemed to freeze, falling into a silence. Quincy then gritted his teeth and uttered, it has been so many years. His hands clenched tightly, unable to restrain the anger in his body. Undead hunter. Quincy's eyes were full of murderous intent. I did not expect you would dare to appear in front of me. Very quickly, he launched a powerful move and threw it towards Lin Yuan. The ground suffered such a terrible blow, and kept cracking. Suddenly Quincy had to stop in surprise too fast. His figure flashed past like the wind, only seeing a figure swipe across. In an instant, Lin Yuan had approached him, pointing his sword straight at Quincy. Faced with this situation, He could only stand frozen in silence. Lin Yuan spoke indifferently. Now then, we can talk properly now, right? Quincy calmly asked him, what do you want to do after all? Lin Yuan then remembered what Doug Wayne had said. Okay, if you insist on going, I will consider this clue as a thank you. In the past, under the haunting cover of the Dark Lord, the immortal world fell into endless despair. To protect justice, Quincy and his wife fought fiercely with one of the Dark Lord's confidants, the undead hunter. After the bloody battle, the undead hunter died, and his wife, in order to save Quincy who was seriously injured, was hit by the undead curse. Her soul was infected by the power of darkness, becoming a monster that had lost all her memories, and would never be able to be reincarnated. At that time, he could only helplessly watch his wife and cry out in vain, no. To break the curse and save his wife, the only way was to personally eliminate her soul that had been invaded, but since that battle, Quincy had been so seriously injured that he could not even hold a sword firmly. Everyone thought that he would spend his days borrowing wine to relieve his sorrows, living in a daze until one day, he announced a mysterious mission. If he could save his wife, that chivalrous person would receive all of his property, and the undead hunter could feel the secret treasure to break the sense of darkness, which he had obtained from the dead undead hunter. Quincy intended to use the spoils as bait, both to save his wife and break the curse, and to make the remaining undead hunters repay their blood debts. But among the 158 people who accepted the mission so far, Quincy realized no one survived. Back in reality, Lin Yuan coldly demanded, tell me your mission. He snorted softly, okay, since you offered yourself at the door, I am sad because it has been a long time since I have had anyone to relieve my beloved wife's boredom. The system quickly announced Quincy's commission, which was to help Quincy's wife be freed, so that she could rest in peace. Without thinking much, he directly agreed. Accept. Quincy watched Lin Yuan's figure leave, and encouraged softly, then good luck to you, maybe you can really complete my mission. His eyes suddenly filled with sinister intent. Quincy thought in his head, of course, on the condition that your body is still intact and can crawl back. Cut to the memorial sanctuary for the deceased in the north of Black Sand Town. Lin Yuan walked very calmly in this place. The system announced that he had used the night vision potion. Accompanying Lin Yuan were also the Scorpion Elite and the Dog Head. He carefully looked inside and speculated. The memorial sanctuary for the deceased has 5 floors. The NPCs who died in Black Sand Town are all buried here. Suddenly, a zombie from the coffin woke up. Its eyes were dull blue, and its mouth uttered savage screams. Without Lin Yuan needing to lift a finger, his Scorpion Elite had quickly ended the thing. This also made him calculate in his heart. In addition, various types of undead monsters such as zombies, skeletons, and ghosts occasionally appear here. The level of undead monsters will gradually increase with each floor. The first floor only has level 1 to 3 zombies. The second floor is level 4 to 6 skeletons. The third floor is level 7 to 9 ghosts. The fourth floor is corpse-eating ghosts. They are probably the highest level, level 10. At this time, Lin Yuan had also arrived in front of the space door to enter each floor. His face could not hide his confidence. Okay, let us break through 4 floors in one go. Everything here was extremely dark, and everywhere was unusually quiet. Very quickly Lin Yuan arrived on the 4th floor, the memorial sanctuary for the deceased. He stood silently, looking thoughtfully into the distance. Lin Yuan suddenly realized, it seems like there is a sound. In a place he could not see, a corpse-eating ghost was activating the wall-running skill. Quite a few others activated the upside-down corpse-tearing skill. They were corpse-eating ghosts, level 10 elite, with 2,000 health. Currently, they were gathering and activating all their skills to attack the target. Lin Yuan only gave a command to the situation in front of him, go for it. The Scorpion Elite quickly activated the earth-cracking skill, and screamed loudly. It raised its sharp tail high, and its whole body exuded a powerful energy. Then, the Scorpion Elite whipped its tail, directly blowing away the corpse-eating ghosts behind it. Lin Yuan also did not stand still, quickly rushed over, swung his sword, and shouted, slash. The level 10 corpse-eating ghosts could only scream in vain after being hit by 2 moves from 2 sides. Lin Yuan ended them very quickly, swinging his sword dashingly. The corpse-eating ghosts all fell to the ground at the same time. He gently stepped to the side of one that was constantly trembling. Then, Lin Yuan kicked it hard, and sighed softly, I almost let you escape. The system announced, congratulations, you have leveled up to level 12. Lin Yuan looked at the scene in front of him, and thought, it ended faster than I thought. He looked at the monsters in the distance again. It is a pity that the dark corpse control technique can only revive the undead. It can't be used on the undead-type monsters. Suddenly, a dark energy appeared behind Lin Yuan. He immediately realized it, and turned back in surprise. The energy instantly shot strongly towards Lin Yuan. He tried to use his sword to resist, but dodged the attack, exclaiming in disbelief, "What?" At this time, Lin Yuan could only exclaim, "This is bad." His whole body then seemed to fall into an endless space. In the distance was a large stone engraved with a picture, and on both sides of the road were blue flames burning. The dark energy carrying Lin Yuan moved non-stop. Then, it placed him down at another location. Lin Yuan had to try to brace his sword against the ground to maintain his balance. He did not hesitate, and immediately glanced around to assess the situation. From above, iron chains wrapped around a coffin were slowly lowering it down. Lin Yuan also quickly realized, "Did I change areas?" Inside the coffin was a ghost lying quietly. She suddenly woke up, and smiled, "I have finally waited for you." Very quickly, the chains wrapped around the coffin were shattered, and the person inside appeared after the explosion. She was the resentful soul, level 18, with 6,000 health, and said indifferently, raising her hand and muttering, "Fresh flesh, new blood." Lin Yuan speculated softly, "This is the 5th floor." The resentful soul quickly rushed over, "Let me tear you apart." He quickly used his sword to block the attack. She immediately activated a skill, Undead Bloom. Dozens of vines immediately rushed towards Lin Yuan, gathering at one point to attack him. Even so, Lin Yuan easily dodged them. He quickly realized and thought in surprise, "It is corrosive poison." Looking at the scene full of smoke and dust in front of him, Lin Yuan hesitated. This level of attack. His hand tightened his grip on the sword. Each slash swung out, cutting off the vines. Lin Yuan showed disdain, "It is nothing to me." The resentful soul was hit by this and fell backward. Along with that, the poison on the vines also stuck to Lin Yuan's sword. She was shocked by being hit like this, and stood silently covering her face. Then, the resentful soul angrily shouted loudly. The system announced that she had activated the skill Banshee Scream. Lin Yuan did not understand it very well. Area skill, no, she is summoning. The screams of despair kept ringing out. Along with that, streams of energy were constantly radiating everywhere. Lin Yuan's eyes immediately narrowed, as if he was thinking deeply. From inside a coffin, a dry bone hand quickly reached out. He quickly grabbed his sword, constantly speculating, could it be that this is? A skeleton holding an axe quickly jumped up, which surprised Lin Yuan. The NPCs of Black Sand Town are buried here. He continued to speculate. Not only that, in addition to the original townspeople, it probably also includes those who failed Quincy's mission. Lin Yuan could not help but curse uncomfortably. Damn it, is she trying to revive them? More and more NPCs crawled out of the coffin. He sighed inwardly. The number behind a door. It is definitely not just one person. Lin Yuan thought again. I did not expect this boss to be able to revive those white bones. Very quickly, he ordered the zombie legion beside him. All of you come out. Lin Yuan said calmly, block the doors of those guys. He looked calmly at the scene in front of him and thought, let the zombie legion be meat shields, and stop them first. The Scorpion Elite also moved towards the door. Lin Yuan continued to order, cast the bloodthirst state. The dog head quickly grabbed the vines of the resentful soul and swung them hard. The entire zombie legion quickly entered the bloodthirst state. The eyes of the dog head were now blood red, exuding a surging murderous aura. Lin Yuan called out loudly, Dog head leader, Scorpion Elite. He shouted, go. They did not hesitate and rushed over. The Scorpion Elite activated the earth-cracking skill, digging deep below. The dog head activated the heavy smash skill, launching towards the resentful soul. She quickly leaned to dodge the attack. From above, the stones kept cracking. The resentful soul looked up in surprise. Immediately after that, a pile of stones collapsed. However, she quickly dodged to one side, and then looked at that direction with a slight smile. Lin Yuan was extremely surprised when he witnessed this scene. He looked at the resentful soul and thought, resentful souls belong to the ghost monster race. Their bodies can pass through structures, and they are immune to physical attacks. Then Lin Yuan said softly, but at the same time, they will bear double magic damage. At this time, he grasped the opportunity, launching a powerful move towards her. Lin Yuan shouted, use the soul seal to deal damage. Faced with this situation, the resentful soul still did not show any fear. She gracefully avoided the moves, which surprised him. Suddenly she is so fast. On the dog head side, it was still blocking the skeletons. Lin Yuan thought, the NPCs in the tomb can break through the zombie legion's defense at any time. I have to win quickly. Then, he took out the item panel, first thinking of a way to limit her actions. Lin Yuan's hand clenched, and the system announced, equip the paralysis ring, which helps with a 5% chance to paralyze the enemy for 3 seconds when attacking. Immediately, he rushed towards the resentful soul who was standing in the distance. Lin Yuan swung the fist in his hand, activating the accompanying skill, Paralysis Toxin skill. The resentful soul did not have time to react and was entangled by the energy. Her whole body said in pain, and the system also announced, hit the target, activated the Paralysis Toxin. Without giving the resentful soul much time to think, Lin Yuan quickly swung his sword and reminded, it is not over yet. A skull flew towards her, and the resentful soul hurriedly raised her hand to block the attack. However, she was knocked away, and her whole body hit a large rock, and he landed dashingly. The resentful soul quickly fell from above. Lin Yuan witnessed this scene and murmured in admiration, thank goodness. He pondered, as expected, after being hit by the soul seal once, its speed also slowed down. Lin Yuan shouted again, Dire Wolf Roar. The dog had quickly activated the Dire Wolf Roar skill. The resentful soul on the other side exclaimed in horror, and the system said that she had been stunned. Lin Yuan then raised his sword. Although the stun time is only 5 seconds, that is enough. He unleashed dozens of slashes in a row, and asked softly, how many moves can you block? The resentful soul could only raise her hands in vain, and the health in her body decreased continuously. She gritted her teeth unwillingly. Even so, the lost blood did not decrease at all. Finally, the resentful soul screamed a scream. Lin Yuan looked over in surprise, and the system said, Boss activated the skill, Corpse Explosion. Immediately, an explosion burst out in front of his eyes. Streams of dark energy from the resentful soul flew out in all directions. The whole space was suddenly shrouded in smoke and dust. Everything gradually returned to peace. The zombie legion had surrounded and protected Lin Yuan. He slammed the sword hard on the ground, and thought in surprise, it is Corpse Explosion. This guy actually wants to directly detonate the NPC corpses, collapsing the entire tomb chamber. Lin Yuan checked the surrounding situation again, and was shocked to realize, my zombies are now only 3 left, a heavy loss indeed. He stood there, facing the resentful soul who was sitting on the ground. Lin Yuan said softly, now then, it is time to deal with you. He rushed over in an instant with 2 skulls, shouting loudly, disappear. Each stream of powerful energy shot towards her. The resentful soul screamed in horror, no. The system kept announcing, Boss entered a dying state, health 300, and gradually decreased to 200, 130. Finally, she also dissipated, and the system appeared, congratulations, you have eliminated the resentful soul, receiving 800 experience points. Lin Yuan then set foot on the ground from above. He looked at the scene in front of him, and could not help but ask himself, is it over? Then Lin Yuan glanced slightly. A faint figure appeared in the air, thank you, brave human. She seemed to be Quincy's lost wife, showing a gentle smile. The woman's soul gradually gathered and flew into Lin Yuan's hand. An item then appeared. It was the Ring of Love, unable to be thrown away, unable to be sold. It was the engagement ring Quincy gave to his wife, and also the symbol of their love. Lin Yuan's face sank, and he felt uncomfortable. The only thing that dropped from the monster was this ring. Suddenly, a book appeared before his eyes. Lin Yuan could not help but be surprised. Oh, this is... The book that fell into his hand had a red cover, with an embossed skull on it. The system said that this was the corpse explosion technique, limited to undead hunters. Lin Yuan thought, I did not expect the corpse explosion skill that the resentful soul just used to be an exclusive skill for undead hunters. He could not help but wonder, is it because the person who sealed it was a confidant of the Dark Lord? The whole book then radiated a brilliant light, and the skill book was automatically recorded into the player's memory. A powerful energy then erupted from Lin Yuan. He successfully obtained the level 1 golden corpse explosion technique, with the effect of detonating an undead, causing fire damage. Lin Yuan smiled and thought, although this skill will consume the number of undead, the power and range of attack are both different. It is also an interesting surprise. Cut to Black Sand Town. Quincy was shocked when he saw the thing in Lin Yuan's hand. Is not this the engagement ring that I gave her? He took it, thought about the things from the past and sighed. The sealed souls did not have memories. Only when they were freed would they restore their memories and drop the things that they cherished the most when they were alive. Quincy hesitated. My wife, when she left, was no longer as painful as before. Right, Lin Yuan replied softly, that is right. The ring in his hand seemed to emit a glittering light. 2 lines of tears rolled down Quincy's face. That is great then. Then, he bowed his head and expressed, I did not expect that in the end it was the undead hunter that I hated the most who helped me fulfill my wish, in any case. I will remember this favor in my heart. Then Quincy took out an object. Inside that was the shadow crown, a type of helmet. He sighed. Now, it is time to fulfill my promise. Lin Yuan took the thing in his hand and thought, shadow crown, although it does not have a secondary effect, hiding the crime and dark aura is what I need most at this time. He speculated, with it, dealing with the troubles with the Lion Scorpion Knight Order will be easier, and I can act in the city without having to be cautious. The system appeared and asked, do you want to equip the Shadow Crown? Lin Yuan then replied yes. His whole body was then shrouded in a powerful energy. Lin Yuan sighed inwardly, finally, am I getting closer to the truth? The scene changed, and the system displayed a notification, welcome back to the main city, Sand-Blowing Wind. On the streets, many people were shouting, XX Guild recruiting, the guild leader will wear women's clothes, join the guild and watch the guild leader do acrobatics. PvP guild recruiting, those with bloodlust come in, Apple guild recruiting, Lin Yuan thought, there are many guilds large and small in Sand-Blowing Wind, but the ones that can really be considered powerful. He whispered, there are only 10 of them, those are the top guilds, Fury, Mirror Flower Water Moon, Traceless Star Spirit, Holy Song, Eternity, and many other names. The figure of that person appeared in Lin Yuan's mind. Will he hide among them? He calculated silently, currently, I am just a newcomer to Sand-Blowing Wind, wanting to approach these big guilds, it won't be easy at all. Lin Yuan continued to walk, maybe I have to find an opportunity first. A person stood in the distance, following his every step. Lin Yuan then turned into a small road. Someone's footsteps stopped slightly. The person following him had now realized something, and stood frozen in tension. A sharp sword suddenly appeared next to his neck. Lin Yuan, with sharp eyes exuding great pressure, asked in a deep voice, who? He opened his mouth and hesitated. Finally. The other person's eyes lit up, and he rushed happily towards Lin Yuan. Yuan Shen, it is really you. However, Lin Yuan gently dodged to one side, causing him to fall face down to the ground. He was a little puzzled. It is you. He heard and became embarrassed. Yuan Shen, do you still remember me? Lin Yuan did not answer the person and asked, you still remember my name? He pointed at himself smugly. When I was watching the live stream of that blood guild, I recognized you. Then he recalled I had to work hard to find your clue from tens of thousands of comments. The person could not help but sniffed after speaking. Then I spent another 2 million to upgrade the latest facial recognition system of the company to determine that it was you. Praise me. However, Lin Yuan was speechless after hearing it. 2 million, just to investigate me. He scratched his head in confusion. Is it too much? Our Han Corporation usually spends tens of millions to test the system. Hearing this, Lin Yuan could not help but think, Han Corporation, that trillion-dollar company that controls the global technology market. What is this guy's background? What else does he know? Should I kill him right here?